Okay, I think we're live and welcome to the 7th round of Stockholm Chess Challenge, which is of course the biggest youth tournament we have here in Sweden, and we've already been playing for the entire weekend. We're about to enter the finish race of this tournament, and we actually have a sole leader. We have Ulvi Bayrani from, I think, Azerbaijan, who leads this tournament on 5.76, and he's been playing really well. He's not the top rated guy, but he's one of the grandmasters here. He's been playing extremely good chess, and, well, he has been facing some of the best guys already, so I mean, he's the favorite to take this, to win this tournament, of course. But hopefully, we might have some players from Sweden that can actually challenge him in the top, and we have there actually on the first board. Philip Lindgren, international master from Malmö, has been playing really well in this tournament, and if everything goes really well in this last couple of rounds, he can play for a grandmaster norm. But that would mean he would at least have to take a point today against Ulvi Bayrani, which means that, well, he's playing his own chess. He's a very solid guy. He asked me yesterday if he should play the same stuff or if he should go for something more risky, because he's gonna have to win a couple of games in order to get the grandmaster norm and win the tournament. So there could be something said for going for a more risk approach, but I think it's better to just play your own chess, and if you win, you win, and if you don't, you will win the next time. And we see here that we have the Queen's Indian actually. The big option for white would be knight c3, which would allow the name so Indian. So instead we go into knight f3, and there are a lot of options like the Bogo Indian with bishop b4 anyway, or some queen's gambit with d5. But Bayrani plays the Queen's Indian, which is of course a very solid opening, and Philip plays the stuff that he usually plays. There are some options here for black. Nowadays I think it's very common for black to play this move bishop a6 actually, which looks really weird because usually when you think Kero, you don't want to put it on a6, you want to put it on b7 where it looks more powerful, but this move is kind of annoying because white has to do something about this pawn on c4. And if white plays b3, I'm not completely sure that's a move you really want to play, because later on the bishop can drop back to b7, and it's not clear that you gained anything from playing this move b3. It might actually be something you don't want to play. Anyway, this is extremely subtle, and I guess it's up to your own personal preference. There's nothing wrong with this position, and lately I think Karyakin has played this position a lot of times with black, and he's an extremely solid guy. He's very hard to beat, and he has kind of proved that this position is just completely viable for black. And lately, I think it was Richard Rapport who played this position a couple of times in Vaikansé, I think 2 months ago. And he played a couple of games in this line with knight c3. He usually went knight e4, just taking some space in the center, maybe playing for f5 at some point. Oh, sorry. That was my mistake. And after bishop g2, I think the move Rapport played was bishop f6, and I think he was absolutely okay out of the opening. And yeah, but instead Philip goes for another move which looks completely crazy because it looks like it's just bounding a pawn, but it's actually a very interesting long-term compensation. He's playing for, I'm not completely sure who invented this move d5. I'm guessing Pologayevsky back in the 70s or even 80s. It has always considered to be kind of risky, but white's supposed to get some good compensation, and I think after the natural move e takes d5, back in the days white always tried this move knight d4, kind of using the fact that there's a pin along this diagonal, b7 to g2 diagonal. And I think the problem was that black started playing this move bishop c6, which kind of defended the bishop. And, well, I'm not sure about the variation of this. I think white's still okay, but he kind of realized that black was doing fine after bishop c6, so I think they've discovered this move knight to h4 instead. With some similar ideas, still the diagonal is pin, and the knight can jump into f5, and we also increase the pressure on d5, so bishop c6 we can just take the pawn on d5. So this has been played a lot of times, and but it was a couple of years ago since I saw it last time, but I think we're gonna see perhaps why. Um, Byrani plays this move c6. It's obviously not a pretty move considering the bishop on b7, but black is a pawn up, and a pawn is a pawn. White takes on d5, knight takes d5, knight f5, and now the move that black plays pretty much always nowadays. I think it was Karpov or something who discovered this move, but knight c7 is just a very nice move, avoiding these double pawns on the d file, and eventually you can push d5 yourself with black. And well, this has been played a lot of times. This is still the main line. White has some good compensations. Knight on f5 is really good. You don't get the knight to f5 in a lot of variations. And looking at black's pieces, they're all kind of passive, but at the same time you're really solid with black here. So white has some activity, but black has found a couple of ways to neutralize white here. After d5, knight c3, black plays the move bishop f6. All of this is still a main line, and yeah, the bishop is kind of defending backwards and also attacking the c3 knight. So e takes d5, and I think c takes d5 is played. Yeah, there's also an option of knight takes d5 immediately, but we get a similar type of position, and white usually goes knight e3 and get the pawn back on d5 here. So you can't really keep the pawn that way. And after c takes d5, bishop f4, this is all still mainline, putting some pressure on the knight, defending this guy on d5. After knight a6, I'm not completely sure about this move Philip plays here, because queen g4, I can't really remember seeing this move. It looks very aggressive, pointing against the king, eventually preparing the rook coming here. At some point you can play a move like knight h6 or bishop h6, but if I have to remember theory, I think the main line was something like rook e1 here. Kind of just increasing the pressure. And if you go a move like queen d7, then I think bishop h3, and suddenly you're threatening stuff along this diagonal, like knight h6, and then taking the queen on d7. And otherwise, if you play bishop c8, trying to get rid of the knight on f5, you can go knight d6. And we see here, in this game, Philip played this move queen g4. Very aggressive, of course, but you have to ask yourself, what are you gonna play after bishop c8? Which is what Byrani played in the game. And you're not really threatening to win the piece as far as I can see, because next move g6, you can just go knight h6 and then move the queen. So you don't lose a piece, but you don't really wanna... This is kind of annoying, because this pin, you can't really move your queen anywhere good. Maybe you should put it on h5 actually. Just getting out of the pin on still g6, you can check on h6, so that would be an option. And otherwise, I don't know, maybe you have to consider moves like queen d7, just stepping up the pressure even more along this diagonal. There are a lot of options to consider here, but I think bishop c8 is kind of a move that you don't want to allow. And also, this variation is quite tricky for white, because it always feels like when you sacrifice a pawn, you always have to get something for the pawn, and when you get that feeling, you become more and more desperate. You want to attack something, you want to... yeah, you really want to attack, you want to threaten things, and sometimes in this variation, it doesn't really work out as well as you want to, so... I think when you play this variation, you shouldn't think about being a pawn down. Just play the natural moves and play it as if it was the equal material. And well, bishop c8. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe queen h5 is what white should play here. Rook d1 is an option, but I don't want to have to calculate all that stuff with the pin. So anyway, this is very interesting. And the other Swedish guy in the top, I think, is Erik Blomqvist, of course. He had a really tough game yesterday against Majorov. I asked him about it yesterday, and he agreed it wasn't much fun playing that endgame. And yeah, now he's facing another Grandmaster. We have a Grandmaster meeting on board number 2, and sorry, I have to update, but yeah, he has the white pieces against Adam Tukayev, and I think they have played each other a couple of times, maybe in this tournament last year, and also in the Swedish league where Erik Blomqvist plays for Rokaden and Tukayev plays for Örgryte, a small club from Gothenburg. But we see here that Erik, he actually goes for his mainline stuff. He knows his stuff in e4. And we see here that we get the Taimano variation of the Sicilian, which Tukayev actually played yesterday against Hambleton, but with the white pieces, and they actually won that game. D6, and now I have to search in my memory palace because I don't really remember what's going on here. This move order has been played a couple of times lately because if we compare it to the Scheveningen variation, which would appear, that would be, well, if we have this position, then this is supposed to be quite dangerous nowadays because white can play this move g4, carries attack, and just, it's very dangerous, and mostly black players try to avoid this variation nowadays, so in this variation you kind of argue that we're trying to get a Scheveningen position without the knight on f6 so early because white's move g4 is still very good with the knight on f6. Still, I'm not completely sure g4 here is so bad, because eventually you have to do something with this knight anyway, so I think g4 is definitely a viable move, but we see here that Blomqvist tries for something else. He goes bishop e3, knight f6, f4. I have to say I don't really know this theory, but I'm guessing it looks natural. Yeah, this is one of the most famous maneuvers we have in the Sicilian, with the bishop on d7, and black usually takes this guy off on d4 and puts the bishop on c6, where it's doing some good work. It kind of attacks this guy on e4. At some point you can break in the center with d5, and it also helps if you want to play b5, so the bishop on c6 is doing a lot of good work. Yeah, but on the other end, if we look at white last move, rook g1, it's quite clear what white's trying to do. He just wants to push his g-pawn as far as possible, and we see that if white gets to play everything with g5 and attack, then black will be mated in a couple of moves actually. So I think Tukayev really wanted to change the position here as quick as possible, so he actually plays this move d5, when white of course has to go for e5 in order to get sort of a French structure, but not really French anyway. Take on e4, queen e3. This is the position they have right now. Blomqvist has been playing rather quickly, but yeah. I mean, this pawn on e4, it might look weak, but it's not so easy to get to it. I mean, bishop g2, sure, but black is going to play something aggressive. You have to start with maybe queen a5 here, attacking this guy, and then eventually maybe rook c8 and start to do something here on the queen side. So it looks complicated, but I have a feeling that maybe Erik Blomqvist is actually slightly better here against Tukayev, using the advantage of being white. We have, how are the other Swedish guys doing? We have this game. They're not really Swedish, but it's on board number 3, and they're all both interesting. We have the 4th Grandmaster here, Nikita Mayorov, playing black against the Indian Shama Hemant, who's playing for an international master norm in this tournament. And we have the 4 Knights game, and well, what do you call it? The Spanish 4 Knights game, I suppose. And here there are a lot of options for black. I mean, the main move I would say would be bishop b4, just keeping everything symmetrical. And there are some real long lines here, like with d3, and black can take on c3, or he can play on d6. There are several ideas, but I think black is doing alright here theoretically. There are also this move knight d4, which I think Rubinstein discovered, kind of saying, what are you doing out on bishop on b5 with the bishop? And usually they move the bishop anyway, so and then black can follow with bishop c5, and leads to really complicated lines where I actually like black's chances, because they're kind of complex. What I don't like about this line is that white can, if he's really boring, go for something like this, and I think it's go something like this, and this is just extremely boring. I mean, sure, you can play this for a win, and if you succeed, I'm quite impressed, but I wouldn't want to play this for a win with black. So this is why I don't always play knight d4, and the one move I like the most is the move bishop c5, which is quite uncommon, because we kind of realize that black has a couple of interesting ideas with knight takes c4 and d4, but I don't think this is so bad for black, and f4, and I think knight g4 is the most interesting lines. So I actually like this move bishop c5, and that's usually what I play these days. However, Mayorov plays this fourth move, which looks like a beginner's move, and if it wasn't a grandmaster, you might think that he is on drugs or something, because bishop d6 looks like a beginner's mistake. You never put the bishop here so you can't develop the rest of the pieces. But as usual, there are exceptions, and modern chess is very concrete. And basically what you're trying to do here with black is you want to castle very quickly, you want to go rook e8, the bishop drops back to f8, and then you go d6, and everything is just the way you want it to be. So yeah, I mean, if white has to do something about this plan, usually, let's compare to the Ruy Lopez. Why don't we play bishop d6 here? The problem is clearly that white can go c3 and very quickly go d4 here. And this center is just about to crumble for black, because obviously we want to support it with a pawn or something. And in this case, however, with the knight on c3, white doesn't really have this advantage of going c3, d4 and just killing the center. I mean, you could go d4 at some point, but that means also that, well, maybe castles, and I mean rook e8, and in some variations the bishop can go to c5 and or even e5, and basically also f8. So in this particular variation, bishop d6 is a decent move to play, and I actually played it a couple of times myself. And the best thing about bishop d6 are there are no forced lines leading to draws or anything like that. Here you just get a position where you can play for a win, and I think basically that's what Mayoro wants. And castles, I'm trying to remember, there was a game by Fressinet against, sorry, Fressinet was playing black against Grandelius, where I think Grandelius played d3, h6, a3, and I think he outplayed Fressinet in the opening, but he didn't get the full point. I'm not sure if he drew that game, but I don't think he won. But I think d3 and a3 is usually white's latest try for an advantage here, which Niels played. Well, castles, d3. I'm guessing they're just trying to develop the pieces. And, well, Hemant is playing this move knight e2, which is a very common idea in the line where the bishop is back on b4. But yeah, I mean, it still looks like a plan. I mean, the knight is going to g3, where it's usually supposed to be, compared to the Lopez when we have a pawn on c3. And usually you have to go this maneuver to g3, but in this game we already have the knight on c3, so we can go from c3 to e2 to g3 and just save a couple of moves. I mean, it's an interesting idea. And Mayorov, on the other hand, has his own interesting ideas here. a6, bishop c4, knight a5. And this is usually not something you want to allow in the open games. You don't want to get rid of that bishop, which is a sign that maybe knight e2 wasn't that accurate. Maybe a3, so that after a6, bishop c4, you can drop back with the bishop to a2. I think Mayorov plays this very accurately. a6, bishop c4, knight a5, just picking up the bishop pair. Bishop f8, and basically black has the bishop pair and has nothing to worry about. That said, I mean, doesn't mean you're basically better with black, but this is usually something white tries to avoid. b3, and yeah. I mean, a lot of players would usually go d6 here, and if I was playing like a normal blitz game, I would perhaps even go d6 myself, but I actually like Mayorov's move, b5, just trying to kind of attack this grip we have on d5. And later on, I mean, if we take here, white's pawn structure on the queen side is kind of controlled by a single pawn here on b5. You can't go a4 without ruining your pawn structure, you can't go c4. Later on you go bishop b7, you might even consider a move like d5 at some point, because this bishop can be really good in this diagonal. So d5, it's not a ridiculous move, but you have to make it work tactically, of course. So in the game, bishop b2, d6, queen e2, black plays this move queen d7, probably with the idea of putting the bishop on b7 and protecting this pawn on b5. a4 is trying to make black decide what he's going to do in the center, and we're basically taking on c4. And he played c6. This is interesting because it looks like black isn't doing too well, actually, looking at the pawn structure, looking at maybe rook d1 or something, but there's really nothing to worry about for black. I think one move could be to play a5 and bishop a6 later on. Maybe just put the bishop on b7 and slowly to start preparing d5. And sorry, I have to stop doing that. d5 at some point. So I think this is still around equal, but I prefer black's bishop pair, I have to say. Whoa. What's going on here? Okay, we actually haven't talked about this game so far. We have Mads Hansen playing Mikhailov. Mikhailov is probably also playing for an international master norm, and I know that he's a big expert in the French defense. We have discussed the French a couple of times, and here in this position, this has been played like tens and thousands of times. There are moves like a6 and b5 and taking on d4 and bishop e7, even rook b8, queen b6. Basically everything has been tried here. I like the line Mikhailov has played a couple of times with h6 here, with the idea with queen d2, g5, and basically this variation just sucks for black, but I mean, it's kind of tricky and there are a lot of traps for white actually. Like taking on g5 might actually not be so good, because you take on d4, you take on e5, and suddenly you get some really nice compensation, and you get the pawn center here. So I think white should take on c5, when black's position really is kind of dubious, but it's playable. Instead, maybe he isn't too keen on repeating a dubious variation, so he's going for something else with a6 and b5. This has been played a lot of times, and we see that this exchange on c5, it might look weird to some people who have learned that maybe you want to go knight e2 and c3, just supporting the center, but there's more to chess than that, because when you take on c5 and these pawns kind of disappear, what white gets is basically the square on d4, which is very useful. I mean, there are a lot of variations where you end up in an endgame where white has a very nice knight on d4 against this not so nice bishop on c8. And we see that that's kind of what's happening here. I think a bishop d3, I think this has been played a couple of times. Queen b6 is very good. trying to wrestle away the square on d4 and trying to make up his mind about the bishop on e3. Bishop f2, and usually I think I have seen this been played a couple of times, this endgame, but still I think White is doing well. He has knight e2 and knight d4, and eventually maybe c3, and he can start playing for a4 on the queen side. So I think this endgame is quite pleasant for White. Instead, bishop b7, castles, and now he takes on f2. So White actually avoids this endgame now. He takes with the rook, which definitely looks a bit more aggressive. Castles, a3, knight c5. Black is playing on his side of the board with b4. On the other hand, he kind of has to watch out on the king side. So rook e1 is played. This move is generally assigned. Maybe you want to prevent a move like knight e4. Maybe you're trying to prepare f5. Maybe you even go rook e3 at some point. Maybe not now, but if you want to attack, the rook can jump into e3 and just improve the position. Well, b4, a takes b4, knight takes b4. So obviously black isn't playing without a plan. He's attacking on the queen side, and the pawn on b2 can be challenged. So queen e3, getting a pin here, and also let's see what's going on. d4. This is a very aggressive move, considering that, well, if you take with the queen, then we have some rook d8 and you get something on d3. So, and if you play knight takes d4, I think something similar is going to happen. And basically this bishop on b7, the bad French bishop, it's sort of a monster, but I'm not sure if we consider this, but White actually took on h7 here. And this is a sacrifice you always have to watch out for when you're playing the French, because it's basically there all the time. And if you're allowing this, then you really have to calculate well. King g8, queen h3, I think this is called the Greek gift sacrifice. This bishop takes h7. So let's see what's going on here. He's not getting mated immediately as far as I can see, because the king is going to run away. However, I mean, White has sacrificed one piece and this guy is still hanging, so okay, let's look at all the most forcing lines. Check, check, take on g7. Let's take another piece. How is White going to proceed? Is he going to take on f7? Maybe queen f6? Let's take on f7, king d8. And I'm not really sure White is mating here. It seems like the king is quite safe here. And I mean, all the checks on d1, you can just put something on d5. And I think black is just doing absolutely alright here. And in that case, maybe White should try to stop the king from running so quickly. I don't know, a move like f5? Definitely something to consider. Obviously you want to open up the f-file. However, I think maybe black should try taking an f5 because the queen can maybe go to g6 later defending this way. So let's try maybe queen h7 and then rook takes f5. Obviously threatening a mate on f7. And you can't go rook e7 because there's a mate on h8. So this looks dangerous actually. I'm not sure how to defend f7. It might actually be that Mikhailov just missed something and he's getting mated very quickly. It's not impossible. Far from impossible. Let's say queen c7. And I mean, there are a lot of moves to consider at every option. I mean, queen h5 is always something to consider, but here I think we can maybe take here. And well, in worst case scenario, I think we can even take on e8 and take here, and we win some material. I think we're winning some material here. I think actually black might be in deep trouble here after f5. Or there's something after queen h7 which I completely missed. But anyway, I think maybe black is struggling here. And yeah, I'll actually be going on a short break for about 5 minutes. It's a very short break, I promise. I'll be back in about 5 minutes, and I'm gonna keep looking at some of the lower boards. So stay tuned, I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Alright, I'm back and I have a cup of coffee with me, so I'm ready to look at some of the other games, but first of all I'm gonna have to see what's going on in this game, Hansa Mikhailov, because he actually played this move Queen h5, and when I looked at it, I just realized that maybe it's absolutely brilliant, because there's no way to defend this pawn on f7. You can't go Rook f8 because Queen h7 is mate. You can't go Rook e7 because this is gonna be made on h8. The king has nowhere to row. And I mean g6. This is another mate on f7. There are a lot of mates, but so I think Milo basically have to play queen c7. But I mean, looking at the position of the f5, this king is going to be mated. There is absolutely no defense as far as I can see. I mean, just take here and I guess rook takes f5, and he's gonna drop this guy. He's gonna get mate on h7. This is a miniature. I don't know. And Hansen has actually played f5. Brilliant. I have a feeling that Mikhailov is extremely upset with himself right now, because this is the kind of tactics that he usually sees in just a millisecond. I mean, when you play the French defense, you never allow this bishop take h7. So I think he's very upset with himself here actually. And I mean, you can't really blame tiredness because there's only a single game for today. So yeah, this is he can't be happy right now. He has actually resigned the game, I think. It says that he resigned the game, but the broadcast here is never to be trusted. So, well, let's take a look at... Okay, he hasn't actually resigned the game, he's still fighting, but he will be resigning within a couple of moves, I think. It looks absolutely devastating for black. So let's take a look at some of the other boards. We have a Swedish derby here in my own chess club. The two guys are facing each other. Erik Thörn is playing Westerberg. Erik has obviously been watching my latest Blitz games against Westerberg, because knight f3, d5, e3 is basically my anti-Westerberg opening. He's very good at playing the Queen's Gambit accepted, and he knows these lines very well. And after knight f3, d5, c4, I think he also takes on c4 here. At least he can consider doing it. And after e3, you kind of have to go boring against him. It's extremely hard to just blow Westerberg away. So what you kind of have to do is you have to play boring and hope that he tries to win. And when he tries to win, he also takes a lot of risks and has a tendency to go too far. So what we see here is he plays the kind of color variation Erik Thörn. It's extremely untheoretical, of course, but this is kind of what you want against Westerberg, and this is also a kind of chess that Westerberg plays himself when he's playing white. So he's just trying to develop the pieces and just get natural development, and Westerberg is the rating favorite. I mean, they have played each other a couple of times, Erik and Westerberg, and I think that Westerberg has a solid plus score against pretty much everyone in at least the Stockholm area. So a draw is not a bad result if you get against Westerberg. So I think it's up to Westerberg to if he really wants to win this game or not. And we see here he takes on c5, he goes a3, pairing this b4 bishop b2. Like on the other end, it takes on c4, bishop takes c4, and what we have is an extremely symmetrical position. The only difference being the knight being on c3 and d2 instead of d2. Not necessarily it's worse being on d2, because later on you're gonna go bishop b4, bishop b2, queen e2, and the knight can jump to a lot of different squares. This guy is not as good if you wanna go b5, bishop b7, so this is not necessarily bad for white. Bishop b2, it looks as though it's just somewhere around small advantage to the right, to equal, but I can't really say that it's much for any color. Castles, rook c1, rook c8. And here we see one of the advantages of having the knight on d2 instead of c6. He plays knight b3, and he's aiming at this square on c5, and also the square on d4 is possible. So we see here that queen b6, knight c5, rook d8. Probably white is going to play queen b3, I suppose. And I'm guessing white's slightly better, because at some point he can just get the bishop pair by taking on b7. It's nothing much, but you don't need enough as anything much against Westerberg. I mean, you just have to kind of provoke him into losing the game by pushing too hard. And it's not impossible that Westerberg is interested in a short draw here as well. I played in London, I think 2 years ago. I played the same knight f3, e3, c4 stuff against him. We exchanged everything. We got the position very similar to this one. And I just offered a draw and he took it because, I don't know. They are extremely good friends. They talk to each other all the time. And I was actually with Eric and Westerberg and Philip in a bar last night. And we were out late and we all have a lot of fun together, and they know each other really well, so they're good friends. I'm not completely sure I like queen c2 though, because this rook on c8 is kind of this rook on c8 is kind of annoying, I think. I'm also a bit afraid that maybe black is gonna go a5 at some point, kind of undermining this guy on c5. So, but still, I mean, nothing serious so far. I just felt that queen b3 might have been more harmonious, but maybe it's just me. Maybe there's actually some tactical problems with knight a5 or something, but I don't think so. I don't know. Then what can we take a look at next? We have a game that's gone really. There are a lot of moves in this game. Tryggestad apparently is a very strong theoretician. He plays the Grunfeld, which of course suits theoretical guys. This has been played a couple of times, and here this is interesting. He plays the old mainline with e5, which nowadays is supposed to be rather risky to play. I mean, well, it's supposed to be better here after e5. So black started playing this extremely subtle move rook e8, kind of just preparing this move e5, and white responds with the extremely subtle move rook e1. I think this has been played a couple of times, and a5 and stuff. And I mean, everything in this Grunfeld line has been exhausted. I mean, I think Kramnik or Gwishuk, can't really remember it. Someone tried h3 here, and it got really popular. But then it faded away when black solved it. Then they tried a3 here. They even tried knight h4 here. They played knight e1. d5 is one of the old main lines. Rook e1 it's so modern and fresh that but it has been played a couple of times, and nowadays it's kind of the old main line. Queen e2 I think has been played a couple of times as well, but it's not really successful. Anyway, this e5 is supposed to be slightly better for white after d5. You have to go knight a5, e4. The thing is, I have looked at this myself with black, and I think it's better for white, but I mean, it's definitely playable. Well, there are options of taking on d5 here immediately, but black is gonna put a knight on c4, and this bishop on c5, sorry, kind of has to go to c5, rook e8, and the knight can later go to d6, just blockading this pawn on d5. And here, he actually takes with the knight on d5, just exchanging more pieces, knight c4, bishop c5, knight d6, very similar to what I said. Having a knight on d6 is quite nice, just blockading this pawn on d5, but at the same time, it's not so clear. White has some free play, and later on you kind of wanna maybe remove the rook and put the knight on d4. f5, e4 can be considered, but it's also very risky. So yeah, I still think black has some problems to solve in this variation. But Triggerstad obviously knows all this stuff, so he seems to be quite well prepared. All of these moves make a lot of sense. Knight d2, I guess is trying to challenge the knight on d6. Maybe you wanna take it and go knight c4 and get rid of the blockade, but I'm not sure you wanna allow the knight coming into d4 here. Yeah, okay. You actually want to show your game? Because it was very quick.
Sitting in the spotlight with you.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess Mihailov usually plays the French defense, so I guess you were quite well prepared.
Nah, I thought he was gonna play e5.
E5? Alright.
He had like 70 games with e5 and 20 with e6. So
Okay. Well, I also know that he has played a couple of interesting lines here with h6, but I think if white knows them, they're not really that good for blacks.
I heard that this h6 is something they practice in the Norwegian camp or something. So every young player has played this h6 move.
Yeah,
I think you just play queen d2. When g5, you can take c5.
yeah, I think what you're playing for is taking on g5, and this is not so good for white.
No, Aktestein played this in the Pachinko and just got a winning position.
Yeah, I think most of the Norwegian guys has played this, and I tried it myself in a couple of Blitz games.
Okay, yeah, only in Blitz.
Yeah. Well, you have to kind of update me about the theory here, because I don't play this myself with any color.
Bishop takes it better, and this is a tricky move, bishop d3, because there is a fork if you play d4 here.
d4, yeah.
Which people tend to play. But then I think that this knight takes d4, and knight takes d4, then knight e4, which is kind of strange, but then you win the piece back in some tricky ways.
So if we move the bishop to, I don't know, bishop b6?
I think knight g6 and bishop e4.
Knight d6.
Bishop e4.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure. I
yeah,
just know
this
that
looks.
It works. I just know that it works, and then I can figure out the board, you know.
Yeah, okay. This looks quite bad.
Yeah.
Everything starts hanging now. So d4 is kind of a trap that you can play for.
But they usually play queen b6 like you did.
Yeah, and bishop f2. I've seen this some. Did Neger recommend this in his book?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can play two endgames. You can take on f2 at once, twice, and then white plays a funny idea with king e3 and knight e2.
King e3 and knight e2.
Yeah. And then sometimes take with the king on d4, which is kind of funny.
Oh, okay.
Or the other endgame is if you include b4.
Here?
Yeah, if you include b4, and then knight a4, and then take twice. Which is also kind of funny. I think both these endgames should be better for white.
Yeah, I assumed, at least, I didn't look at b4, but I assumed this was slightly better for white. You have the d4 square, so...
Yeah, but it's solid for black.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this line with bishop b7 and castles...
Castle. Oh,
I don't know, is this still theory or...
I think I remember if you go back before bishop b7, if you just castle first. The things I knew is castling here. And if you would take here, and f2, rook takes, and knight c5.
Yeah.
Then I remember the trick queen e3 here, like in the game. And then if you want to win a piece with d4, then I can take an h7.
Yeah, okay. So we have the same idea with queen h3.
Yeah. And if he doesn't play the d4 thing, then I can play knight e2 and all these things.
So this queen e3 looks quite good actually. It's quite kind of annoying having this pin on this diagonal.
Yeah, I think so. Also it takes control of d4 and, you know.
But
just a little thing I remembered is if you play something like bishop e7 like in the game.
Yeah.
That's how saying pass, like, can you improve your position more? And then I think how to react is a3 usually. Maybe after take like in the game 14 a3. I think that's what I remember, that if black passes with bishop e7, then you can pass with a3, but I'm not totally sure.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Did he play like bishop b7 quickly or?
Yeah, a little. Yeah.
So maybe it was something prepared by him, or
Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
think so. Yeah. I didn't know. Maybe a3 is not the best move. I thought about just making rook e1 first, and if knight c5, then perhaps f5 or queen e3. One of these ideas.
Yeah,
How do you like f5?
I don't really know how to react. Should we take on f5? No, maybe you can't take because d5 is hanging. But
Yeah, that's the trick. But you can't allow f6 either. So
yeah, so this looks quite good for white, right?
you think so? Okay, let's see. Knight takes d3 and queen takes, and pawn takes. I guess. Yeah. If you take on d5 and queen d8, I'm not sure about these things. Should be.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe white is just better.
Yeah, okay, this is interesting. But I guess at some point you have to take on f5 at least with the pawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, not queen d8. Queen c5 should be better. Something like that.
Yeah. This looks okay for black, perhaps. Yeah.
Then rook d8 and the queen might be weird on d3.
Yeah, unless, I don't know, knight d3 or something.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure about these things, so that's why I
No.
played a3.
Okay, well, a3, it's always a solid move, I guess.
Yeah.
Knight c5.
I thought about queen e3 here as well.
So
With
what's
the idea in the game, but I wasn't totally sure. d4 and bishop takes, and if he just ignores first. Yeah, with king h8.
king h8, yeah.
I'm not sure about my move here.
Yeah. A lot of pieces hanging now.
Exactly. It's horrifying.
Yeah.
I don't know about this. I couldn't find a move here because I could perhaps move the queen, some queen e2, but then he takes my pieces, I guess, and play g6.
Yeah. I mean, rook e1. Rook e1 looks solid.
Yeah, I actually like his idea with this b4 things.
b4?
Yeah, I like that.
Alright, and queen e3. And I guess he just completely missed bishop takes h7, or...
But I'm not even sure bishop h7 is good. I think
Really?
rook e8 is the mistake.
Okay,
Because it's totally unclear. Okay, he can take. He can also play king h8 here, and then do something else. Because then I think I'll play knight takes d4, king takes h7, and then I don't get this usual stuff. Then I perhaps will play f5 here, and it's totally complicated.
yeah. And, I don't know, take on f5?
Yeah, or f6. I'm not sure. One of these.
Still looks very dangerous, but I don't know, knight takes f5, I guess. And you're kind of threatening queen h3 and stuff.
Yeah, knight e6 could be like something that could stop everything.
Knight e6.
Oh, sorry, that's made in 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Then yeah, okay.
Yeah, it still looks dangerous, but I mean,
f5, then maybe f6 instead.
f6 here?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. But then I don't know, knight takes e6.
Oh, that's true. Whoa, that's annoying.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. Okay,
It's complicated. It's not over, but
no,
I just assume, did he take back on h7 quickly, or?
no, stop for 2 minutes.
Okay.
Check. Corner. Queen h3. Now I think you should play rook d8, and then I think it's just complicated.
Rook d8?
Yeah, because if I play my usual stuff with queen h5.
Okay, then you can go rook d7.
Yeah, and take the other rook onto f8 in these variations. For example, if I do what I did in the game with queen h5, rook d7, queen h7 check, king f8, and check again, and then up here, queen takes, then he can play the rook f8 stuff. And then black should be just winning. But so I can't. This queen h5 idea I think doesn't work here.
Can you go? No problem. I was thinking like f5 here, but I guess it doesn't work. You just take it.
Yeah, and then the queen goes g6.
Yeah, unless there's some e6 stuff.
Ooh,
I don't know.
so many pieces hang.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you can always like look at all this stuff, but I mean, maybe it's just bad.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it's too complicated actually. Is there something easier? I don't know.
So if we check first, and then make him go with the rook d8 to f8. Yeah, check again. Check, and then have to play rook f8. This was what I thought it was forced.
Okay.
And I thought it was just complicated, unclear. I thought should be fun to play with white, and
Yeah.
maybe I can go slow with moving the knight to somewhere safe, the knight c3 knight, or maybe I could go on with f5.
Actually, I thought maybe you were going to go f5 like as quickly as possible. I mean, before the king runs away, but
Yeah, I like that idea. Yeah.
no, if it takes, then queen h7 and rook takes f5.
Or just rook takes first.
But then I thought maybe queen g6.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know. It's still very complicated, but
Yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah, f5. I like that idea.
I just thought it looked very dangerous. But
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I should just if this came, then f5. Yeah. I must admit, the idea of f5 before checking just came to me when you play rook e8. I didn't really see it after rook d8.
I didn't look at the game until he played rook e8. Did he play this quickly, or?
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, I don't understand why. It's not forced.
Yeah, but after, yeah, I didn't see queen h5, but it just wins immediately. So
I forced the queen to go to somewhere bad, because also the diagonal to the king is broken, so he can't do tricks.
Yeah, I was only looking at f5, but still, I think this is very, very good for white. So
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, rook d8 has to be a better try.
I think so. Yeah.
And yeah, well, congratulations. I guess very short game today.
Just what I needed.
Yeah.
I had a bad loss yesterday, so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good luck tomorrow in the last couple of rounds. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, it shouldn't be. Alright, so we already have one game finished, and what else is going on the other boards? We should take a look at them as well. By the way, you wanna join me in the studio?
Yes, sure.
Alright, we have another guest, not a player this time, in the tournament at least, but he knows his stuff. Sorry, you're gonna have to hold the microphone. Just don't start singing.
No, it's not a problem.
Okay, so what game should we take a look at? You wanna pick a game? Say a number between 1 and 11.
8.
8. I think that would be this game. But we recently looked at this game. Yeah, okay, so we left around here, queen c2. What do you think about the opening? I mean, you both know these players quite well. We're all club players, but
I mean, wait, can you show the open first?
yeah, you play the knight f3, d5, e3.
Yeah.
And basically he's just, I think he wants to avoid the queen's gambit accepted, and he goes e3 immediately. And he's just playing an opening. You would think that maybe Westerberg is the one playing white here.
Yeah.
He usually.
This game against Friedringer,
yeah, he played something similar in that game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, everything just disappeared on c5, and then a couple of moves later he took on c4. So we have a very symmetrical position.
Yeah.
But I still feel like here white is slightly better than black, because the bishop
on b2, yeah.
Yeah, it's better than this guy on b7.
Yeah.
And this knight can jump into c5, and this one's not as good. So, I don't know, it's a good opening choice by Eric, I think. Rook c1, rook c8, knight b3. He should be slightly better, I think.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
And I thought that at least at some point he can take a bishop pair, so he has something to play
against the bishop pair, so.
Yeah. I wasn't sure about queen c2, but maybe he has to play queen c2.
I mean, what else?
No, I thought queen b3, just not being on the same rank as the rook, but
yeah. I mean, there's one idea to play queen a2, queen a1, maybe.
Yeah, getting the queen to a1 would be a good idea. So maybe maybe there is actually some tactics with knight a5. I mean, if you take knight a5, that actually be something. I don't know, maybe it's just bad, but okay, it's nothing serious. Knight d5. And I guess one idea would be to play bishop f6, just trying
exchange the
to...
bishop, yeah.
Yeah, kind of want to trade pieces here with black, at least the bishops. So we actually grabbed the bishop here and could put the queen on b1 like you wanted to.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's try bishop f6 here.
Mm.
And how is white supposed to... He can't really keep the bishop there.
Yeah, he has to exchange the bishop.
So takes, and I guess knight takes.
I mean, it's equal right now.
Yeah, it feels like it's equalized.
Yeah, I mean, okay, white can play rook c5, it's like move the rook to the king side, but means nothing. But
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna mate me. I mean, like knight d7. I think the rook doesn't really belong over here.
I mean, it's something, but I don't think it's gonna lead to mate or something else.
Yeah, actually, you might even can try like knight g5 here. There might actually be something here, but okay, knight d7 is not so clever, perhaps. You can play maybe knight e7.
Yeah. And then you play like rook fc1.
Yeah. I mean, there's a big risk that all the pieces just come off and we have a draw.
Yeah, but still, white has the light square bishop and
Yeah.
on a6 and b5.
He can play for a4 and
Yeah.
later. Oh, sorry. Do you think Vesterberg would be happy with a draw in this game?
I don't think so, no.
I think he would be alright with a draw, because otherwise he would pick a different opening, right?
Yeah, but still, I mean, it's Westberg. You always want to win.
Yeah, but I mean, he has played a horrible tournament.
Yeah, I know.
He lost like 3 out of the last 4 games.
That's terrible.
Yeah, and Eric is one of his best friends, so it's not impossible that we will have a short draw in that game.
Yeah.
And okay, let's look at this game. We have the young Norwegian prodigy Tor Fredrik Kaasen playing Milton Panzer, and well, we actually have a Queen's Gambit here. And it takes on c4. I think it's called the Vienna variation.
Yeah.
I've looked at this myself, but I think it's extremely dangerous, these lines with e4. And I think they play bishop b4. I mean, I want to play the Vienna, but I never dare going into this stuff, because whenever I see a game in this, I always get mated with black. I mean, queen g4, rook e1, bishop d3.
Yeah.
I always get mated when I look at this stuff. And well, e3, that's the move I like playing against, because now I think black's position is just very solid.
Yeah.
And I think a6.
Yeah.
So basically what we have,
Take b5.
like take b5 or c5. Basically we have like a Queen's Gambit accepted, but with the knight on c3. You don't want it on c3, you want it later on d2, or maybe just wait. But
yeah.
But I think this line is okay, it's not harmless, but I think black is alright here. So I think this has been played a couple of times, and we have a typical position with the isolated pawn, but black is still solid. Not sure. I haven't seen bishop f4. Have you seen this bishop f4?
No.
I would put it on g5, but okay, I guess it's no huge.
But usually you want the pawn on a3, not on a4.
Yeah, this pawn on a4 is not really what you want to play with white.
Yeah, exactly.
You want it here,
Yeah.
just like you said, so there's no big hole here.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think Milton kind of used this idea. He
Yeah.
plays knight before. I think it's a nice idea to use the effect. We have the pawn on a4. So queen b3. And he goes bishop d7. Probably trying to get the bishop to c6 here. Knight e5. And this is kind of dangerous, I think. Maybe something has gone wrong, actually, because I think if you go bishop c6, can we take here?
Ooh, that takes f7.
I mean e6, and then I don't know, even d5 at some point.
Yeah, it looks dangerous.
Yeah, maybe bishop d7 wasn't accurate, but he just went back to c6, and white grab the pawn on b7.
Yeah.
So if black doesn't get any compensation, then something has gone extremely wrong here. And I think maybe that's the case. Rook d1. White is playing a very, very good chess, I think. Very actively. Rook b8.
Take.
Take on f4.
Yeah.
Queen a7. Queen e8. I mean, white's a pawn up. And he still has a very active position.
He's gonna take the pawn on a6 too.
Yeah, he can take this pawn if he wants.
Not right now, but later maybe.
Yeah, I mean, he can take it right now if he wants to, but I mean, black doesn't really have any compensation.
Yeah.
The knight on f4 isn't really doing anything. You're kind of threatening, like, I don't know, queen c6 stuff at some point, but yeah, I think basically white's just a pawn up. You can take here maybe and start bishop b5.
Yeah, bishop b5.
Yeah, definitely black is just fighting for a draw because white's a pawn up.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, which game should we take a look at then? We can look at this game, Hambleton against Kenneth Skog. So Kenneth Skog plays the Grimfield defense, and I was told earlier that this Hambleton guy, he always plays the same variations, and apparently he had played this line with take on d5 and bishop d2. He has played it like 20 times out of 20 possible games.
Yeah.
And I guess he just got tired of being out prepared. Like Trygestad like blitzed out 25 moves and equally drew him, like in the second round, I think. So he tried something completely different. He plays e3. Usually not the variation you go for when you go for an advantage, but this is interesting. I've looked at this myself a couple of times. Queen b3. Kind of want to make black do anything about the d5 pawn.
Yeah.
You can take on c4, bishop takes c4.
Also.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't want to take on c4 if you don't have to, I guess. Knight f3, and you start ideas with knight e5, and white is doing well, I think.
Yeah.
So usually they go e6 here, which looks strange, but at the same time you're kind of saying that the queen is strange here, but queen a3 is the move they tried. I think Ivanchuk has played this a couple of times.
Okay.
Obviously you're preventing the castling here.
Yeah.
Knight c6. I think I've played this against Theodore in Brits a couple of times. But so yeah, the knight goes to e7, and usually you get this kind of structure. And suddenly the knight is doing okay here, because later on it can go to f5 and even d6.
Yeah.
So let's see, bishop e2. Castles. b6. I'm not sure if this is theory anymore.
No.
There aren't any games really in this variation. Well, so we take some d5, so we get the structure.
Yeah,
b4.
b4.
And yeah, I'm not sure about this b6 bishop b7 idea.
Yeah.
It feels like white has some good pressure on the queen side.
Yeah.
Bishop b2. I mean, you can't really achieve c5. c6 doesn't really do anything, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe white's actually slightly better. So, like I said, the knight actually goes to d6 here. b5.
b5, yeah.
And yeah, it definitely feels like white's slightly better, considering the structure. Later on you can push a4, a5.
a4, a5, yeah.
So, knight e4, rook c1, just building up some pressure against c7.
Yeah.
a6 is played. Okay, so this is probably a good idea by black. Just eliminating at least one weakness on a7.
Yeah, open for the rook.
Yeah. I mean, it's nothing special. I think maybe white is slightly better, but
not so much.
Yeah, it's very close to equal at least.
Yeah.
Knight b4. White improved the knight, so now it's actually really good on c6, but still knight on e4 is good.
Yeah, I mean, black wants to move his pieces to the king side, of course. But
yeah, I mean, a move like queen f5 is not it's a possibility.
Yeah.
Rook c2. I still prefer white slightly because this looks very strange and the bishop on b7. And I don't know, knight e5. It feels like white is doing okay. f3. So white actually found one idea to get rid of the knight on e4.
Yeah.
Knight takes e5. So suddenly gets tactical here. What's happening? Like d takes e5, and I guess knight c5 is the idea.
Yeah. At the top.
Yeah, and then move the bishop, but still it's unclear. Like queen, I don't know where to put the queen.
I mean, queen c3 maybe. I don't know.
Queen c3. I was worried about like knight a4.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe not immediately, but yeah, why not?
I mean, not the other move is maybe queen before, but no.
Oh, sorry.
Take.
Takes here. Takes a queen before here. But then I don't know, knight
Yeah,
d3.
the same idea.
Yeah, knight d3 looks like an option here as well.
But what can he do? I mean, where can he move the queen?
Can he take on e4 perhaps?
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
No, there are so many things hanging here. I can't really calculate everything, but maybe he can take on c6.
This is a knight c6. Yeah, he takes.
B takes, bishop takes.
Yeah. Oh, it's hanging. Okay.
With
Yeah.
the idea bishop takes h2.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, but it gets complicated here. I guess Hamilton is going to be thinking for a while here. Maybe this is too much. I don't know. It feels like maybe there's something here for white, but yeah, I mean, Kaneskog has been thinking a lot. Actually, he only has 21 minutes left, and Hamilton.
Wait, but if you go back, wait, okay, it was nothing.
F takes
no,
e4?
it was nothing.
Okay. So, okay, let's look at this game. We have the young Icelandic prodigy Stefansson playing against Wisting. And he's always playing funny openings, this guy. He has played the London system like twice in this tournament.
Yeah.
He plays the Dutch defense. And here he goes for b3. And okay, this is one of the main lines in b3, but taking on c6 is kind of what you want to play if you don't want any theory here.
Yeah.
I think the main move here is supposed to be knight a3. You want to go knight c4 here. And black's supposed to play the move knight a5, which looks kind of ridiculous, but but at the same time the knight on a3 is kind of stuck. The bishop on b5 isn't doing much. This is one of the lines that have been played a lot of times, but I don't know. It's just everything's just equal, I suppose. d3. And this is another position I've had a couple of times in Blitz, but never in a serious game. Usually white just goes knight e2, maybe knight g3. And the other knight goes to maybe c4.
Yeah.
But black has the bishop there, so it's interesting. This is an interesting move. I mean, I think 9 out of 10 people would castle, like either the long or short here.
Yeah.
But he found this move h5.
So you're saying to white, if you play in castle, then h4, h3.
Yeah, I mean, definitely you love this idea.
Yeah.
If he gets here, black is winning, right?
Almost.
So maybe we should stop it at some point. So apparently he played h3 immediately.
Yeah.
Knight e2, g5. So black is really aggressive here.
Yeah.
I don't like this for black. I mean, it kind of feels like white hasn't even castled it. I mean, if he had castled, then fine.
Yeah.
But now white even has the option of going long instead. So I'm not sure I like this. And the f5 square.
Sort of weak. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure I like this. Of course, white is clever. He doesn't castle after g5.
Yeah.
So black keeps pushing pawns. Knight e3, h4. I guess it's kind of interesting, but I mean, we have this idea of even going, sorry, knight g1, knight f3, and later on even knight h2, knight g4.
Yeah.
So basically, black just keep pushing pawns, and I think there are some weaknesses here on f5 and g4. So I'm not completely convinced by black's strategy here. Bishop a3. I'm not sure I like that either.
Yeah. I mean, he's changing white's good bishop on b2, but still he's.
Yeah, but the only thing black had was the bishop pair, right?
Yeah.
What does he
That's
have
true.
now? I mean, okay, so takes queen c3. You have to go back. A4. So yeah, I think Wigner is playing really well here.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really go b4. And just go back, and the square on c4 is just lovely for white.
Yeah, it's a monster on c4.
Yeah, I think black is playing very strange chess here. Castles, and Wigner actually plays this knight f3 idea. Yeah, I actually like the way Stefansson has played this game. And now he just opens up the king side.
Yeah, g3.
And now I guess black is kind of asking, why did I play h5, h4, g5?
Yeah.
There was a very big attack going on here.
Yeah.
He almost threatened something. And it takes on g3. It takes on a4. And the structure is just horrible for black, right?
Yeah. I mean, look at the
Knight
c6,
d6,
c7,
queen c5. I mean, this guy playing white, he's like 14 years old and he's already playing extremely good. a6. Here actually plays his move g4.
Yeah.
Which I guess is good, but I mean, does it really have to go g4?
I mean, after h, he wants to play g4, h4 maybe. I don't know. Just open the position.
Yeah, g4, h4 is of course an idea, but still not completely sure. Maybe g4 is good, but feels like maybe we could have waited. Or
I mean, there's the idea just to castle and just double on that line, put the knight in, yeah, move the knight from f3 to g3, then jump to f5.
yeah, but I guess maybe black can
Or
even
not.
try for this same idea at some point.
Yeah.
When the queen's not hanging, of course. But well, king g7, knight f1. Okay, so the knight is heading to h5 maybe?
Yeah.
But still... Yeah, I'm not sure about this move g4, but yeah, of course, white's still much better.
Mm.
And yeah, king f8, like he's trying to run away. Kind of want to do something with my own king here. Not sure, maybe we'll put it on g2.
Yeah, g2. Right.
I'm not sure where we want it, because later on if the knight goes to f4 we don't want it to come with check, but
Yeah.
maybe we can even have it on e3 or something. No, maybe not e3, but I guess the king kind of, yeah, let's say g2 and have the other rook on over here at a1.
Yeah, that's another idea.
I don't think white is going to win on this side of the board. I think he has to capture everything here.
Just take the pawn on, yeah, win the pawn on a6.
Yeah.
Change the pieces. He's a pawn up.
Yeah, but still Risting has played very strange chess here. At least in this round. Oh, we have a rook in game. Draw.
Yeah.
Let's say it's a draw. What else? Okay, we have. Let's take a look at the first board. Left of the bishop c8, and I wasn't completely sure how Lindgren is going to react here, because bishop c8 is kind of annoying. Rook e1 was played, queen d7, and okay, he found a nice tactical idea here, saving the piece. He played knight h6 check, king h8, and queen f3. So if you take on h6, you can take on c7.
Yeah.
And we can take here. And even if we take on c3, it's hanging with check. Yeah, and a8 is hanging, so it doesn't really work going d4.
Yeah.
So bishop b7 back, and knight comes to g4. So, I mean, white has sacrificed one pawn, but I mean, he still has some compensation here. He has the bishop pair, he has the square on e5.
Now h4, h5, h6.
You wanna push the h pawn again?
Yeah.
Of course you do. f6 makes a lot of sense, just
Yeah.
not giving away the square on e5. Knight e3.
Yeah.
Still not completely sure white is better, but I would consider playing white here. I guess now one idea is also c4 because this is hanging and the queen on d7 is hanging as well.
Yeah.
Bishop a8. I think Philip has succeeded in the opening. He should be, well, I wouldn't say slightly better, but I think he has enough compensation at least.
Yeah, he has the better pieces.
Yeah,
Coordination.
I mean, these guys aren't really doing anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, he should at least be able to get the pawn back. He played queen h5, sorry. And there are some ideas with bishop e4 as well.
Yeah, and bishop h3.
Yeah, bishop h3, of course. Even knight f5 back at some point when you're not losing a piece. So. Yeah, Philip is doing well. Well, is there any game we haven't looked at yet? We haven't looked at Boghossian and Harborough. So Harborough kind of plays for a win because otherwise you wouldn't go for the Benoni.
Yeah.
And yeah, this has all been played before. And here he actually plays this move bishop g4, which I can't really say that I've seen this before.
Not me either.
I mean, usually they go a6 here and after a4, now they go bishop g4. So there are no annoying checks on a4 or b5.
Yeah.
But I mean, in the game, bishop g4, I mean, this is a well-known theoretical position, so it's definitely something Harborough is preparing. So queen a4 is played, and bishop back to d7.
Yeah.
Queen c2. I'm not sure queen c2. Why not queen b3? Just attacking this guy.
Yeah. Bishop c8. I don't know.
Yeah, bishop c8. Yeah. This still looks weird. Queen isn't supposed to be on c2 here. But anyway, I guess we just get a position here. Bishop d3, castles, knight e6. We don't want to allow knight b4, of course.
So play a3.
a3, yeah.
Yeah.
Queen c7. Suddenly black is perhaps threatening c4 here.
Yeah.
Bishop and knight c5. So b3 makes a lot of sense. Rook b8. I think Harborough just got a good Benoni now. I don't like this queen c2 move at all.
No.
And maybe even here the bishop should be on e2 instead of d3.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it feels like, yeah, b3, rook b8, and you can't even go a4 because knight b4.
Yeah, exactly.
So he has to allow b5, and then black is just doing alright here.
Yeah. Rook f8 and
Yeah,
rook b6.
rook b6. I guess the only problem is this guy on a6 has nowhere to go actually. Knight d1. I guess knight d1 is a decent idea, because otherwise at some point you have to calculate all this stuff with b4 and the knight jumps into b4.
Yeah.
So now we can just go b4 a4 and everything's under control.
And you have the knight c4 square for a knight.
Yeah. I mean, now of course you don't want to go for this with black, then this is...
It's horrible.
Yeah, it's losing.
Now e5 is coming
Yeah.
at some point.
Knight h5 is trying to trade the bishops. This is always interesting because you're not really sure if you want to trade this bishop because it's defending your king, but on the other hand, black is the one who wants to trade pieces.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's see the idea. Knight e3 and rook b8 back. Rook b6, rook b8 was a strange maneuver. I'm not sure what he achieved from it. Feels like maybe that wasn't the best idea.
I mean, now the knight is on g7. He maybe wants to play b8 to e8 and play on Or F5 maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I think F5 is definitely one of the ideas here. And we see after F4, here Black actually has to go F5 himself, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, yeah, White has this threat of going F5.
Yeah.
But F5 here, Rook A1, Rook B8, takes, G takes, Knight F3. I'm starting to like White more and more. Now in a couple of moves ago, I'm not sure about this Rook B6 idea here at all. Especially if he had to go back, because now there's a weakness on F5.
Yeah.
I mean, Knight H4, even G4 at some point. I mean, there's a weakness on H7.
Yeah, exactly.
And especially look at this guy.
He's out of play.
I would even consider going C4, even if it just loses a pawn. Just to get the pieces working again.
Yeah.
Like take, you can even go, I don't know, Queen B6.
Yeah.
Threatening this guy, and then B4. You get some compensation for Black. And especially this knight jumps into play.
Exactly, yeah.
Otherwise, I think this guy, do you know Pogosyan before?
No.
He's a young Russian guy, I think, and he's been playing extremely well. I think his performance here is almost 2500 actually.
Yeah. That's very good.
Yeah, and I think he's like 13 or 14.
Hmm.
So, how are they doing? Turn and Westerberg. Turn is definitely better.
Yeah. That's the pin on
How did this happen? I mean, he took on b7, he got the bishop pair, sure. But I mean, Black was solid here, like bishop f6.
Yeah.
But knight b6, bishop d3. Yeah, he just got outplayed, I think.
So,
Yeah, knight e5, and White is just
yeah, Black is too
outplaying.
passive here. Look at the bishop on F8. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, maybe even knight g4 is a threat here.
yeah, exactly.
Look, it's kind of difficult defending h6. Okay, maybe f5, but no, f5 doesn't even work. So knight e5, he went back to g8. But still, his position is very bad, I think. I mean, still, White has to break through somehow, but I mean, looking at the pieces, White is just much better, I think.
Yeah. I mean, the bishop on E4 is very good.
Yeah. You could consider knight d3, knight f4.
Yeah. I mean, I want to play a move like G3 or something, just to put the bishop on G2.
g3, bishop g2.
Just secure. Start on the king side. H3, G4, H4, G4. Just open the position.
Yeah,
That's an idea, but
yeah, but I mean, even after knight d3, how is Black supposed to face this idea of knight f4? Maybe you should move the queen somewhere, but White is definitely much better. It feels like Westerberg is the guy in Stockholm everyone wants to beat.
yeah, exactly.
He has killed us all so many times. I think this is the one chance we have at revenge.
Yeah.
Because he's clearly not playing at his usual level in this tournament.
Yeah.
And
yeah, but normally you see Westerberg attacking all the time.
that was the old Westerberg when he used to. But I mean, the last I think 2 years or something, he's always grinding down these end games against in Rukadnes Onsdagskampen. So
yeah, against like 1800s, 1900s.
yeah, I mean he's always playing this Queen's Gambit accepted stuff, and he wins in move 60 instead of move 20.
Yeah.
So he's extremely solid. Like you said in the bar yesterday, he has kind of forgotten how to win.
Yeah.
He always knows how to draw, but when he tries to win, he loses instead. And okay, let's look at this. They traded the queens, queen f7. The rook takes,
Isn't the pawn down?
but he can take on d5.
Yeah, okay, you can take on d5.
So obviously there's a tactical trick in the end. And there's mate.
Yeah.
So
Bring
Philip got the pawn back, it would appear. But is he gonna win?
No, it's hard to say. But, I mean...
He is actually better. I mean, the pawn structure is kind of ugly, but how is black supposed to deal with the bishop pair?
I mean, I changed one of the bishops, of course.
Yeah, sure. But then rook f7 is hanging.
But now maybe I can play rook f d7.
Rook f d7. It's clever. Don't really wanna go c4 unless I have to. Yeah, rook f d7 is a good move. I mean, we could go bishop f3, but
Still.
yeah, you can just exchange everything.
And then just play knight c5.
Maybe white can still try there, but yeah, I mean, this bishop is so strong. I kind of want my bishop to be strong, then maybe I would have some winning chances, but
yeah.
But yeah, this should be a draw without any trouble.
Could he play something else than taking f7?
Instead of
taking f7, can he play maybe
keeping the queens, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, possibly. But I don't wanna... Where should I put the queen then?
Well, maybe back to h3 maybe, I don't know.
But h3 is not a nice square. No, I don't wanna put my queen on h3.
Okay, where do you wanna put it then?
Like maybe f5?
f5?
Yeah, somewhere close to the center. But still, even that move like g6.
Yeah, I can push it back.
Yeah. No, I would have exchanged queens as well. I would have tried this. Knight takes d5 is played. Can we try something else? He has to take here, right? And I guess white has to take here. Rook f d7. How about c4? How's this? I'm kind of worried that he just goes like h6 or something. Then he's threatening this guy and there's no mate.
I mean, he can play g5.
Even g5, yeah, you're right.
Temple.
Yeah, so maybe you have to go for this endgame and just get a draw.
Yeah.
Okay, so do we have any options of playing this for a win? Let's say knight c5. Well, it does have the bishop pair.
Then bishop b8.
Bishop b8, but then just a6.
Bishop a7.
But then it's almost trapped. No, but yeah, maybe this.
Knight b7, bishop g4. Or, yeah.
Yeah, okay, but at least we have a draw then, right?
Yeah.
Because bishop c6, and you're not gonna win this.
Yeah, exactly. Opposite bishop.
Yeah, you win a pawn, but you're not gonna win the game, I think. There should be something else for black as well. Shouldn't have to defend this, I think. But I'm not sure. Maybe you have to actually. Like knight, bishop d5, and take knight e4, threatening both these guys.
Okay, instead of taking on b6, you can also play maybe
Oh, sorry.
a4 maybe? I don't know.
a4?
Yeah.
Knight e4.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, I could have played knight e4. Okay, maybe not knight e4 now, because bishop f3.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyway, I guess this game is sort of heading towards a draw. There's still some play left, but I think the game is heading towards a draw.
Can you play now maybe rook f d7? instead
Rook
of
fd7 immediately.
yeah. Okay,
Okay.
maybe better to take on d5. But
Yeah, maybe actually. Then we have to go c4, right?
yeah,
Well, we could go knight e3 actually.
but after c4 is the same thing. You take on d5 and
Yeah, I think everything pretty much ends in a draw.
yeah.
Okay, how is this endgame? White is under pressure. Black has the bishop and this guy is really strong. We're threatening this.
Yeah.
Not easy to defend, but I mean, yeah.
I mean the pawn on f4 is very weak.
Oh, actually, he played king g1. I just saw that the bishop is defending
yeah.
the rook. So
I mean rook. Yeah, okay.
still, it feels like it should be able to draw this. Don't you think?
It's not so easy. I mean, he has a good bishop on b7. Rook is active at h2. First,
Yeah,
he has to move it, but
you want to trade the rooks or you want to keep it?
I want to keep it, of course.
Then rook d2.
Yeah, rook d2. Yeah.
Let's say bishop c3. Yeah, of course, black is pushing.
I know I can play rook g2 check. Move out the other rook to c8 maybe.
c8.
Yeah.
And rook d1, I guess.
Now rook g. Wait.
But sure, yeah, black is definitely pushing, but
I mean, I can play rook g c2 and then pick up. No, okay, the rook on e3, so protecting pawn on e3. Yeah, but I think black is a little bit better.
yeah, of course, black is pushing, but I think with accurate play, I mean, a move like bishop h6 at some point is very annoying, but white has some tactics with knight g4. This is what you have to be careful about. But sure, black is pushing. And, okay, this I like. Queen d8 and just g4. Finally we get a position I like. Isn't white just doing extremely well here?
Yeah, I think so.
And if you take
knight c1, or
yeah, even knight g5 immediately is extremely dangerous.
yeah.
Black is getting mated like here. So sorry. Bishop h7. Can we go bishop g8?
I was thinking after bishop g8 maybe you can play.
Yeah, maybe you can put something in f5.
Yeah.
But it was a cute idea. Maybe we can take an exchange or something.
But I was thinking a bit about maybe instead of bishop h7 check, you could take on b5. No, wait, this is not good. You could just take on g5.
But still, I mean, just a normal move like take here and knight g5. I mean, white's position looks fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It looks like mate. Wait, actually,
Sure.
oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's very close to winning this fight. Actually, maybe, can you ignore this?
Pawn f5.
Yeah, I mean, if white has to get this structure, then it's fine for black, I guess. But I'm more.
Sure. I mean, he could just play king h1 and then double into g5.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, let's say it's white's rule. What are you gonna play, like knight takes or?
No, g6.
Like king h8, I guess.
No.
Then, I don't know, king h1.
Yeah.
Knight h5. Get the knight here.
No, g5.
Yeah, you're right, actually. This is just. Unless this works, then it's just horrible.
I just play knight e6.
Yeah, everything's horrible. I mean, even I would even consider going g5 actually. Just knight h4. And yeah, everything's horrible.
But then I can maybe sacrifice on e4. Rook e4.
Rook e4?
No, was just kidding.
Um. Okay, Kenneth Cook, what's going on here? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm at the point.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I have to update. Was it Kenneth Cook's game or?
Yeah, exactly. Kenneth Cook's game. You know if you go back to f takes e4,
Yeah.
knight takes e6 was the idea you saw.
Knight takes.
You gave. E takes. No, wait. Well, bishop takes c6.
Yeah.
Actually, you can take on c6.
Can we take?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, it's two bishops. I just.
Bishop b5, queen d6, check, and then e5. I mean.
Yeah, but I mean, even if we don't have that, the e5 is still just.
Yeah.
just two bishops. I mean, bishop b5 just wins even more material. So that wasn't very good calculation by me. Bishop a6. So it takes, and yeah, he doesn't want to take this pawn because then this guy is completely wrecked on b2.
Yeah, exactly. You're just taking e3.
Yeah, so e5, rook f2. I like this play by white. And e4.
Ooh. Nice
And yeah, rook a5. But doesn't it feel very bad for black?
Can you play maybe bishop? No, okay, wait. Yeah, rook f3.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah,
this
it's
might
very,
actually.
very bad for black.
But actually, this rook a5 is threatening to take on e4, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And how are you gonna stop it? I mean, if you take and let black play this, then suddenly black is doing alright. I mean, everything's blockaded, c6 is weak. Even queen takes is possible. So I think maybe black is alright then. I didn't see this bishop c3, rook a4.
If e takes d5, maybe almost sacrifice some.
I don't think it works. The bishop is hanging, but
okay, but then maybe I can just play. Let me see. Ooh, maybe rook f6.
rook f6 here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Rook takes f6.
And let's try queen g4.
Just take pawn on d5.
And queen e4.
I could play e6 maybe. Yeah, take that one.
I don't think this works actually.
Okay, now.
I'm not sure about this sacrifice at all actually. I mean, you get one pawn, but maybe there's even something better here. I'm not sure. But still, this looks close enough, right?
Yeah.
Now I don't know if there's an idea of playing queen e1, but or you can just take the pawn, but yeah, unless you have some e6 here, I guess. But I don't think it works that well.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, maybe black is just doing okay. But I mean, it's very close to. But I don't see how to prevent this idea. So yeah, let's look at. Okay, resting is still the same type of position. Queen e3. I have a feeling that maybe he's going for h4 now instead of picking up this guy, but I'm kind of old and I want to play more positionally, so I would have gone for something like this.
Yeah.
I don't play for an attack when I'm as old as I am.
Why should you open the king side when the rook on h8 is very passive? I mean, just play king e2, as you said, king e2, rook h.
Yeah,
a1.
but I mean, I think either way, White is doing really well, but
Yeah,
it looks more sadistic to play on the queen side actually, because Black can't really do anything on the king side.
yeah, black is suffering right now.
And Milton is still fighting for a draw. And I think he will have a hard time achieving a draw because this pawn is so strong. And whoops. Okay, sorry, I'll have to take a break and fix what happened. Uh, okay, I think we're back, and I'm using a different browser this time, so there are a lot of more things to know. Okay, I actually took on d5. So if the rook takes d5, what's the idea? Probably it's just an over back, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But okay, take.
Take.
Rook e7. Can we push this for a win? Why not? I think we can push this. Ah, okay. We played rook c8, sorry.
Yeah.
That's better. So, yeah, White has a weakness here, but... Okay, rook d1, I guess. But then g5 is possible.
Yeah, g5, bishop. Okay, you don't want to play bishop. Yeah, rook a check, yeah. And now,
Check.
bishop e. Yeah, bishop e.
Well, it still has some kind of pressure here.
Yeah, he's gonna put the bishop on d4.
Yeah, of course. Bishop d4, rook d6.
Then go up with the king maybe. Just
Yeah. Okay, Black might actually be the one who has to fight for a draw.
but it's not so clear. I mean,
But I don't think White has any losing chances at least.
no, of course not.
Rook d1 just looks good. Okay, we haven't looked at this game in a while. How is Blomqvist doing? Left around here, bishop d5, and I didn't want to weaken the king, so he played c4 actually.
Mm.
And then he just tried to pick up a pawn. This is so typical Blomqvist. He really likes those pawns. And Black has to play dynamically, of course, open up against the king. And White plays bishop c3, bishop b4. So this is what we have. And, well, bishop takes e4.
Yeah.
Take.
Take.
And I guess take on c4.
Yeah.
And isn't Black doing okay here? Like rook b8 next move?
Yeah.
But okay, I mean, White's not gonna lose. I think he can play rook d2, rook c2, and...
I mean, if White managed to exchange the pieces, then it's better, of course.
Yeah. But the king is kind of weak, so...
But I see, okay, he wants to push the a pawn to a5, a4 maybe, at some point.
Yeah. But I mean, rook... Let's start with rook d2.
Yeah, and then rook a b8.
Rook b8, rook
c2, rook fc8 maybe, yeah.
Yeah. And White has to... I don't know, step up the pressure somehow. Rook c1, can you play like this?
Yeah, no,
It's not really threatening anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still feel like Black is okay, but... Yeah. This pawn on c4 is both weak and strong, I guess, but... White is going to try to find a way to pick it up without getting mated.
Yeah.
I don't know, rook d4, is that too much?
Could then a5.
Can I take?
Okay, take. Oh.
Yeah, that was the idea.
Okay, you could just take. Let me see. Okay, go back.
Can they defend it really? I don't think he can.
No.
So bishop takes e4. I'm sure that Blomqvist is gonna take the pawn. I know him, but I mean he could go for a rook endgame, but there he has to suffer as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just put the king on c3.
yeah, king c2, I guess. I mean, maybe it's drawable somehow, but it's really uncomfortable. The rook g2, rook c2 looks like a good idea actually.
Yeah.
Well, rook b8, rook c2. Is there anything else we can try here? Like queen a4?
Good idea.
I don't know. But you can't take with the rook.
Okay.
And if you take with the queen, I was going to play rook b4. It feels like... Yeah, I'm not sure what the idea is actually, but...
If I play rook d c1.
Rook d c1, and... Maybe you are just threatening to take my pawn now.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So it was just a one move trick. And... okay, actually Blomqvist played something completely different. He played a3. Did he really go f3? Ah, okay, you can't take this guy. Rook c1 and you win this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's quite clever. Which means the queen has to go somewhere else. Like a4.
Yeah, a4.
And yeah, maybe now we can take on e4. We have a slightly improved position. Maybe.
Yeah, now the pawn is on a4. a3.
Yeah, but maybe we can take here now.
Yeah.
And black has good drawing chances, I think. I guess you're not gonna win this so easily.
Okay, if I take on c6.
Take c6.
Then rook c1.
Rook c1. I don't know, rook b8.
Yeah, and the same idea. Double on c5.
Yeah, but now we have rook b3 and stuff.
Yeah.
At some point, queen d5, queen a4. I think black has more counterplay here than in the last variation. I'm not sure a3 is a move you want to play with white, but
I'm gonna get rook c3.
rook c3. Okay, let's try and trade this guy.
Okay, rook g c1.
We'll take this guy.
Rook takes c3.
And rook c8.
Yeah.
I don't think you're gonna win this without giving up anything. Maybe I could even go rook queen h1 and take this guy now actually. But yeah, I mean, I'm not sure a3. Oh, actually we have a draw. I think we have a draw. Yeah. They repeated the positions on move 31, they just offered a draw. So what do we think about that? Boring.
Yeah, boring, but still, I could have played on. Yeah. Okay, not right now, but before.
Yeah, but I mean, it was probably around equal, I think. Rook c8. Okay, king g8 is actually a good move.
Yeah.
So probably it was just equal here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's a decent result, but I mean, if Philip wants to get the Grandmaster norm, he should have tried to win this game, actually. Now I think he has to win both his games tomorrow.
To achieve the GM.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And yeah, maybe we can actually be joined by one of them. Philip, you want to join?
Yeah, I'm trying to get it.
Yeah, sure.
Can I take you?
Yeah, sure. You can actually sit here without me.
No.
Really? Okay. But we don't have free microphones, I remember.
Okay, I can.
Yeah, you can use.
Together I prepared Queen's Indian because I saw his statistic in Slav and semi-Slav and I was very afraid.
Was it yeah, well, I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Okay,
Good
d4, e6,
Yeah.
c4, knight f6, knight f3. Okay, he's playing also g3 Catalan, but I
Yeah.
thought about bishop b4, something like. I will play bishop b4 in g3.
Okay.
Okay, knight f3, b6. I think he wasn't ready because
Well, I actually prepared it mostly against
I
F5.
playing rarely, but I'm playing this variation.
Yeah, okay. I didn't prepare much for Queen C.
Ah.
I thought you would go for F5.
Yes, but f5 is too risky in my case. g3, bishop b7, bishop g2. I play bishop b7 classically. Castle, castle, d5. I'm not sure now. These variations are analyzed too much, and it's equal. If black plays best moves, it's draw, I think.
Yeah.
But also, black should know. E take d5, knight h4, c6, c take d5, knight d5, knight f5, knight c7, e4 d5, and knight c3. I thought about yes, bishop f6 is right. Bishop because if bishop f4 now in bishop f6, bishop c8 helps. Very good move. E takes d5, c takes d5, bishop f4 and knight b8. It's all theory, but queen g4 was a surprise for me.
Actually, I couldn't remember is it what is the
My line is something like rook e1, queen d7 and bishop h3, queen d8. I analyze it like this.
Okay.
Knight d6, bishop c6, and rook c1, knight c5. There's two moves, h3, and before knight f5 played by Rager, but it's losing. After d4, black has a winning position. Okay, I analyze it. It's draw, I think.
Okay.
Um,
Well, then you can just go bishop d2.
it is draw. You are losing a white color. Okay, queen g4 and now king h, bishop c8 I played. Yes, I think it's a good move.
Yeah.
Because rook a d1 I can thought about bishop c3 and queen f6.
Yeah. That probably is good for you.
Yes. Okay, bishop h6. I can change everything and extra pawn. I'm not risking lost. I can give one of knight and
So rook e1.
rook e1. Rook e1 I played queen d7. I thought also about rook e5 something like this.
Yeah, rook e5, but yeah, I thought you would.
King h8 I can play.
You didn't want to take it?
No, it's. I think it's risky. I thought bishop e5, bishop e5, f6, knight d5.
Knight d5, okay.
Okay, I can take maybe knight d5, bishop d5, king h8, something like bishop a5, if take e5. I can win piece or not. Okay, knight h6 is normal, quite normal move instead of rook e5. Knight h6. King h8, queen f3, but I'm not now sure. I saw also bishop c3 and f6 something like this,
yeah,
but
that's what I thought. Thought I would take the queen, right?
Yes,
And,
I can take pawn also.
Yeah, possibly.
I thought about this.
I want, yeah.
But
F6.
queen is better. f6 and queen a3.
Queen a3. I was also thinking about rook c1 or something.
Rook c1 I can put knight to e6. What you want?
Aha, okay, 96. I just take the okay.
There's no time. I have you have e5. You must all
Okay.
activity from there.
Okay, queen.
c3, f6, and queen a3.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure. Rook e8 also have, but my piece is very bad. Why I must change it? I was sure about this. I can take and queen c3 and two risk. One mistake and I can lose. Bishop b7. Yes, bishop also no. F8. F8. It's also so about this. Some tactical ideas.
Yeah.
I said it's too risky.
Yeah.
Bishop b7 is normal move, I think. Knight g4. I took we take c3, f6, knight e3, and I'm not sure rook need in d8 or c8. Maybe I did mistake. I saw if I want to change everything, I can play knight c5, but I'm not sure. If you take c7 and d5, your bishop can be better because I put f6. In future, it can be a problem for black king. Yes, rook d1, bishop a8. I defended everything, but it's too hard. Queen h5, queen f7. Now I was sure he can take the f7 because d5 is hanging.
Yeah.
He can force take back pawn, but I'm not sure it's right. Or I can put queen h3 or queen g4. Yes, or something like this, because g5 is not a catch bishop, and I think about knight f5, knight d6, or rook e7. Maybe queen h3 is better because in g6 I can put knight g4 or something like this. It was very hard.
Yeah,
Knight and bishop stays in queen side without job. Queen f7 you take. You saw queen h3 or not? Something
well,
like.
I thought I could play it, but I thought I was okay.
How Petrasen said, if you have pawn, there is no might need for playing. We can play without my knight d5. There was I calculated it before. There was too many endgames transformations. I was thought which is better for holding. Knight d5. I can't play rook d7 because he is playing c4 firstly.
Yes.
Knight d5 and taking. Yes, c take d5, g5. Bishop e3 and maybe bishop c1. I don't sure. Bishop d5 and something like bishop h3 can be happy. And I not need a pin. Maybe is bishop c1 is better for bishop b2 for not holding closing line. Okay, I took knight d5. There was also interesting. I saw c4.
g5.
Bishop goes back to c1.
I thought you could just try to keep pawns and.
I can't. Yes, I can try, but
or maybe knight c7, knight a7.
I can.
And you just.
There is nothing. Yes, there is nothing. Yes, I agree with you. Bishop d5, and I calculated it too much time. and bishop d5, rook d5, and easier rook c8. But rook cd1 is a stronger move. Have king g8, which I played, because h6, rook d8, rook d8, king h7, bishop d6 have some problems because knight haven't a good square to fixing it, and king is out of game. And now after king g8, which I played, rook d8, rook d8, yes, took rook f8. I can play rook f8 and rook f7. I can defend line. I think it's all of words I can say about this game. I said so. There was too difficult. I have only two difficult games with Philip and with Mayor. I was very afraid about today.
Oh, are you satisfied with the draw?
Yeah, it was an interesting
Thank
game,
you.
and yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me here. And yeah, if you're satisfied, then then you're still in the fighting in the top, I guess. And Byron, you're still leading the tournament, so obviously you didn't have to push too hard for a win. We're playing black as well.
I won't play my best game.
Okay, well, hopefully you will win tomorrow. So both of you. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck to opponent.
And well, do we have any other results incoming in this round? Look, how's this game going? Still looks like a draw coming between Rakesh and Tryggestad. How is Tumainen doing? I haven't looked at this game, I think. He played the exchange variation of the Queen's Gambit. So for all the natural moves. And he plays this quite fresh, this idea with playing h6 early. A couple of years ago it was considered to be quite bad going h6 because later on you're gonna go the bishop back to f2 anyway, so h6 kind of gives you an extra tempo. But when we found this idea with knight h5, I guess they kind of realized that h6 is good to have included here because, well, h7 won't be hanging in many variations. I think this line is just supposed to be very solid. Castles, rook b1, and white is playing for this typical minority attack with b4, b5, trying to create a weakness here on c6. a5, and I'm not really sure about this move a3 because it allows black to go a4 here. Kind of, well, making this square on b3 rather useless one, and you can't really go b4 now because of the a3 pawn. So on the other hand, the knight has to stay here on b6, just protecting it all the time, so it's maybe not that bad. But anyway, e4 is... he usually goes for e4 here, even though I usually never go for this e4 idea, because he kind of wants to go d5 and just open everything up, and if he manages to go d5, then maybe white is actually slightly better because of the structure on a4 and b7, but bishop e3, sorry, bishop e6 is of course just very solid for black. Rook e1, I don't think white has anything special here. Knight e4, he would even have to fight not to be worse, I think. Knight takes e4. He has an isolated pawn, so I guess he has to be very careful here. Queen c5, bishop a2. Okay, so it's attacking the bishop and the rook. Bishop f5, queen d5. Okay, we got quite tactical here for a while. So rook a1. All the pieces are hanging suddenly. Bishop b3. And of course, if you take on b6, I guess black is going to take on f5. And, well, I don't know. It should be worse, but knight c3, and we get to an endgame where white has some issues with the b2 pawn. What's white's idea? Knight e4. Sure, he has some ideas with knight coming into d6, but it feels Very strange. I mean, this pawn on c5 is also a big weakness. Rook e5, g4, g6, f4, rook e7, and the bishop is kind of stuck. Knight f6, and he's losing material, I think. Seems like White is losing this game. He's dropping a... Well, he has to take on like b7, I guess. But you just take her and the endgame is easily winning for black. You can just pick up this pawn, knight d3, pick up this pawn. Yeah, this is horrible. Black is gonna win this game actually. So let's look at... Yeah, okay, so this is still the same type of position. Milton is fighting for a draw, but he might actually be able to make it, because this king is weak now. I'm not sure he should have pushed all the moves f4 and g3. It feels like black has some counterplay. Of course white is better, but there are decent drawing chances. And how is Westerberg doing? He's still worse, but it looks much better than it did a couple of moves ago, because we still have this knight c5 idea. Maybe at some point white wants to push e4 and even e5 if he has the chance to do it. But now it's black to move, so he can take on b2 if he wants to. When he's worse, but should be able to draw this, I think, maybe. Yeah, of course white's better, and yeah, he's worse. Yeah, he has the good bishop. At least he is better on time. You have to see everything good. So he actually went for this. Doesn't mean that it's good because you told me. So he actually went for this, but what's the idea? Queen g4. And he pretty much has to take here, right? Something else? I mean, you have a bishop on b2. You have to take on d5. Queen e4. So you're threatening this guy. You have to go d6. D6 has to be... But okay, actually e6 even works here. I don't know. If I knew, then I would be playing the tournament and not commentating. but I mean, e6 is starting to look a bit dangerous actually. And can we take? We can't take here either. E7 seems to be winning. Can we take with something else? If we take with the queen, we just take here and we win the queen. Not very complicated. So e6 is actually a good move. Do we have anything else than queen e4? Can we play queen e2? Yeah. d6, rook b5. Yeah. Queen e2 is probably better, I think. Now we're kind of slow. What can we play after queen e2? Rook b5 is quite a serious threat, I guess. Yeah, I'm still not sure about this. Seems like black has some decent chances. But okay, I mean, you always have some compensation when you have these pawns, but rook b5 is annoying. Anyway, rook f2. Okay, so let's say rook b5 anyway. I don't know. Yeah, maybe you actually can go to the endgame. Yeah, let's not go to that endgame. Queen e4, but I can also start checking first. I mean, if we give like this, we still keep threatening. It might be a draw. Queen b5, but still take d6, I guess. No, but otherwise he's gonna take it. You have some good compensation here, right? Maybe it's just a draw, like queen e1, queen e2. But queen g4 definitely looks like the good move. I mean, he's thinking here, but it can't be any of these moves, right? It looks too passive. Queen g4 has to be the right. But I mean, he's low on time, you should play it quickly. It's down on 4 minutes. They have made 31 moves. There's still 9 moves left, and then they get another 15 minutes. So, okay, in this game... Sorry, queen g4. Bishop c3, and... Okay, that's an interesting idea. Yeah, I actually like that idea. What can we play here? Bishop c3 is a very good move. Take on e4. Yeah. Take here. Queen d4. Yeah, this is alright for black. Well, this is better for black, I guess. When you take on a5 next move. Okay, but I mean, let's look at something has happened in the other game. This game. White is still just much better. But the queens are coming off, which is just even better for white, I guess. How can you do this to your pawn structure? This should be in a book. No, I want to take every single pawn. Black doesn't deserve to have any of those pawns. Like, the way he's handling this pawn structure, you shouldn't allow to move pawns anymore. I mean, knight d5. He's already one pawn up, is he?
Yeah.
I thought he was like... I was about to resign and I didn't even notice he was a pawn up. Yeah. But okay, no, this game isn't really interesting. I mean... Yeah, it's black's move. But I guess he's gonna try something like knight f4. Take and just rook a5. Oh, is he? Yeah, everything's hanging. Why are we looking at this game? He should resign. Do we have anything else? We have... Is Felix still playing? Seems like he's thinking. Let's update. Okay, we actually have a draw. Or maybe... Yeah, we have a draw. They repeated the position a couple of times here. Lundqvist and Tukayev. And well, it's a pawn up actually, but Black has some counterplay. I mean, Queen b5. Yeah, the king is so weak, I don't think you can win this with whites. But I mean, if anyone enjoys white position, it would be Blomqvist. I mean, he is a pawn up. Anyway, okay. This is just mate. This is the problem with commentating. Suddenly we just see it's mate everywhere, and it was an interesting position the last time we looked, and now it's mate. What happened? Okay, yeah, we looked at this, right? So we played just like we said, and okay, it was just maybe this knight g4 just didn't work out apparently. Oh, okay. Okay, it's apparently quite difficult to avoid the mate on g1. Okay, so Majoro won his game, apparently, and of course on board number 4, Matt Sansen won after like 1 hour. So what else do we have? We have Pogosian against Haubro. And suddenly black is much better. After g4 I really liked white's position. So after knight c7, okay. Okay, this is actually very clever. After g takes f5 he just took on e3. And suddenly black has a lot of compensation here. So this knight on a6, which wasn't doing anything, it's now like the best piece on the board. Queen d4, okay. This got quite tactical, but it seems to work out well for black. That was a very good operation by Hauber actually. I was really worried there for him for a while. But this should be winning, right? It's close to winning at least. Bishop f5, maybe you can take there and play for something with king f3, king e4, but maybe you can even go just bishop d5 and try to blockade these pawns, but still. Yeah, I mean, black has kind of tricked white here, so he's definitely pushing for the win. And what happened here? Queen g4, e takes, he didn't go queen e4, d6, take here. And what's wrong with e6 now? We're missing something very easy. What are we missing? I don't think it's just game over because rook f5. Oh yes, this would be. Yeah. Okay, so e6, clearly there's something we're missing because e6 is definitely a move you consider. Okay, so queen takes d6, blunders a queen, and if we take here, we or an e7 or e7. Yeah, but if you go d5, we have time for some queen c5 check, and then king moves somewhere, I guess. But I mean, wasn't e7 easier? If f7 just hanging, you don't have to calculate too much here, right? Why don't you go e6 here? I don't understand. He took on c7 here. Yeah, queen takes and it just went for h4, and this looks. I still have a feeling that I'm the one who's missing something very easy here. Can you rook b5? Let's try rook b5. He takes f7, king goes to g7, I guess. Okay, maybe it's not so clear. Yeah, I'm not sure about this anymore. Can you go queen d5 even?
No, you just take it.
Take and then what do we play? Looks dangerous, but Yeah, I'm not sure this is so good for white actually. Yeah, I don't think this is as clear. But okay, let's look at this. Because h4. Do we really believe in this attack for white? He is an exchange down. I'm not sure I believe in this attack. I mean h4 is kind of slow. On the other hand, okay, he played queen d7, he took on b6. He might have drawing chances, but he's definitely not pushing. I'm not sure how big the drawing chances are either, because, well, if white takes, okay, actually, maybe if we get the bishop to e3 and the king to f3, it's a draw, but yeah, okay, it actually might be a draw. Two here. Yeah, me too. I also wanna find spectacular moves, but it's easier in a commentator studio than at the board. Okay, Risting actually resigned this game. I think. Maybe he resigned this game. With that pawn structure here, he should resign. But yeah. Okay, you don't get another chance trying to find fantastic moves in that position. We have to we have to look at the games. Okay, so Bogosian is still fighting for a draw here. Or is he fighting for a win? No, he's not fighting for a win. Hamilton. He didn't want to trade the queens actually. He played queen before. I have no idea how white is supposed to win this. At least not win this, but I mean, even drawing this looks really strange. I mean, the queen is so strong on d5. I mean, if the bishop tries something, we have rook a2. Kind of annoying. Okay, you played rook d8. What do you think? Is it losing for white? Philip says yes. Is black losing? No, okay. Okay, well, what is happening here? Hold on, something has happened. Something big has happened in Vesterberg's game. Okay, let's go back a couple of moves. He's been slightly worse for the entire game, but okay, a5. Really? He's going for this. Knight takes e6. You probably missed knight takes e6. Bishop takes e6. So we win some material, but okay, we can't really take back this pawn. Well, we can, but the game will be short if we do. So a move like h3. No, not h3. We blunder a bishop. Where should we put it? And g3? Okay then, g3. And I guess taking on a3. But I mean, this should be winning for white, right? This pawn looks kind of not so dangerous. But okay, white has to do something with his own pawns and without allowing any draws. So I don't know, knight c6, queen c5. I have a feeling this is winning for turn. Yeah, this is not good for Vesterberg. After g3, queen d6 with the idea. Oh yeah. But can we play like... No, we can't. Queen d6 is actually clever. So maybe not g3. Are we getting mated by force here? Yeah, but it's so boring just going back with the pieces. Okay, now things aren't hanging and so on. Yeah, he played bishop b3 actually. He's so solid. But still, this should be at least very close to winning, I guess. I mean, you get the king safe, and then you get the queen here and the bishop behind it. You should be winning. Yeah, not a good tournament for Westerberg. Milton is better. Milton's position is better. How? How? I mean, he had this position, bishop c6, and what did white do? Did he get mated or something? Okay, rook d4, and suddenly white went f5. Thank you. Do you understand anything? Okay, the white is fighting for a draw here. Can we just take the pawn? And check. King g7. Check. King f. Wait. Yep. Okay. But we have rook g8 if we really have to. Yeah, we can play queen h8. How is this endgame? If we take, is it losing? But that would probably be a draw. 2 against 3, I guess. Well, I mean, it's a good 3 against 2, but I don't think it's enough for winning. But okay, I mean, yeah, I mean, black can try and win this, but at the same time, white can just go around with the rook and try to win this guy, I guess. But I mean, it's quite strange how. Okay, this is interesting. You started with check on a8. You mean bringing the queen closer? Queen b7, queen b6. Okay. Yeah. But I guess he didn't go for it because he started with queen a8, which is kind of going in the wrong direction. He's going down here. Getting the queen as far away as possible. No, but maybe he's just repeating the position or something. It's move 40, so it's a good move to play on move 40. Ah, okay. Without allowing this check. This is annoying. Very annoying, actually. Rook e1, rook d2. Rook a1, rook d8. I don't know, how is this? You can take everything. I don't know.
Maybe we should play king g7.
Here.
No, instead of the.
But that was my entire idea. Yeah, okay, this looks quite annoying. Okay, queen h5. Rook g4. That's maybe good. Sorry? Yeah. Okay, so queen h5 is not really a good idea. But anyway, I mean, how did black get from here to where we are now? White must have done something seriously wrong, and I mean, f5 here? Really? I mean, sure, this is probably a draw, right? I mean, you weaken the king a lot, and this guy is not really going anywhere. But I mean, now you're just giving stuff away for free. Yeah. Yeah, maybe. And now he's just trying for a draw or something. Okay, so we had a draw between Triggerstad and Rakesh. Okay, Felix is still playing apparently. And what? I don't know, King E2? Can we go Rook E4? Maybe King D2 is better. How did black get counterplay? I mean, let's look at this. No, wait, black is... Oh, Felix is playing white. I sort of forgot who was supposed to win this game. But now white is the one who has counterplay. Okay, the king has to go somewhere. Where do we put it? D2 or E2? E2, check, King D2. Now start thinking. But what are we threatening? Like C7? The king can run away. So it's better to go here, but still, C7. Is white winning? Sorry? Here. Rook h8 here, or... Okay, but... No, I'm trying to figure out if white can win this. I don't think black is the one fighting for a win. Rook b4 maybe? Okay, maybe not rook b4. Yeah. Rook a6 first. Okay, so you want to take on a6. They're so tricky. Yeah, and you have rook d6 ideas. Isn't this just very, very good for white? He's like Houdini. He just knows how to escape closed box or something. I mean, I have no idea how he can find a way out of all of those positions. I mean, yeah. Okay, let's look at this game. I have to update. This Kenneth Goog. Are we going for a draw or something? Queen e7, Queen f6. How did he get, well, almost mated? Isn't he almost mated? Like e6 at some point, maybe? e6?
What happened here? How did he?
I don't know. Queen d5, Queen b4, Rook d8, h5. Yeah. And he found like no idea whatsoever, apparently. But I mean, what are these moves? I mean, basically from this point and on, all of his moves were basically entirely pointless. What got to do everything he wanted, and like 5 moves later he just still had to run with the king. Yeah, now I'm hoping that Theodore wins this game just to prove a point to Sam Kasani. But yeah, what happened here? I mean, he's losing, right? Let's try e6.
Oh wait.
I'm waiting. You're trying to make Rook a1 work, but it doesn't work.
No.
Maybe it actually can work. Let's try it. Rook a1. I'm desperate with black. Take it. Check. King f2. Rook c2. Just king e1. And now king e1 gets mated. You wanna go this way? King g3. Okay. Can I go for stalemate? No, I don't see any stalemates here. Okay, so this doesn't work. So e6. What else can we try? Rook is Queen f5. But I mean Queen g7. Yeah, let's say Queen g7. King where? I think this is losing. I mean, here we can just take on f7, right? And here we have Queen e5. And this should win for white. King e7, I'm guessing Rook b7. King d6. Rook a1 can be dangerous. Okay, this is actually a good try. Maybe Rook b7 wasn't the right idea. Maybe this is actually what he has to try. Did I do something wrong? Maybe Queen g7 wasn't right? Maybe. Queen h8, King e7. Rook b7. No, I don't seem to. Can you actually hold this with Queen f5? That would actually be amazing. But... Whoa. Your turn is actually just 2 pawns up now. And I guess this is the type of endgame that you win rather easily. How did he get the b pawn? Okay, let's see what happened here. Knight c6, queen c5, and okay, you could just take it apparently. There's no mate. Yeah, and I guess it's time to make some air for the king. Maybe king f1 even. Okay, so apparently Vesterberg is losing again. Kåsem... What did Kåsem do? Queen a8, king g1, rook c8. And he takes an a4. This is close to winning for black, I think. Rook g6 and... Yeah, isn't this king more vulnerable than this one? Because I mean the queen has to leave, then we can move the queen. So. Sorry? With the idea. Rook h6. So rook d7. After rook f8. Okay, we are rook d8. Might. No, I'm gonna take with the queen, maybe. Okay, that's actually made him one. But then this is just very bad, right? Yeah, but isn't this just losing? Okay, queen e7. He's still mate in one. Okay, not mate in one, but... You're threatening mate and I don't know how to stop it. Yeah, this is winning. Did we miss something? Do we have anything here? Anything at all? No. King g7. Is it a forced win? Is there no single way to stop rook h6? Apparently, no. So there's a forced win in the position for Milton, apparently. Amazing turnaround. I mean, how can you win those positions where you're just a pawn down from the opening? Eric. Yeah. I guess easily winning. Something like putting the pawns like this and just walking with the e-pawn at some point would be close enough. Okay, let's look at Felix. King e2, c7, of course. f5. And he played king g3. He's definitely pushing for a win. I mean, the king is very safe here, I think. Or is it? What's going on? Like here? And... yeah, I kinda wanna resign now, actually. Bishop d7 was played. Rook where? Rook b4. With the other rook b8? With the other rook b8. Black has to find some kind of trick here, I guess, but I don't see it. It has to be a very good trick. If Felix wins this game, I have to interview him. Okay, what happened here? He went rook d6 actually. So where should the queen go? Let's say queen e4. Threatening, I'm not sure what, but rook d7. And white wins, right?
No, wait. He's got to
Rook d what?
rook takes and then bishop a. Go back. So rook a.
Oh,
Bishop a.
yeah. Okay. Rook d6. Okay. That's actually a really nice mate. So queen e4 doesn't really work. It's apparently mate. Good one. And then what can we even try? Queen b3? Like, okay, let's try e6. Okay, we have a couple of checks over here as well. I mean, queen e3. We can't go to the h file because a queen b3 has to be the right square. Because queen e3, queen h6 is a good idea. And yeah, I don't know how much time Theodore has. It says like 0 seconds, but obviously that's not right. Okay, Westerberg has actually resigned. Okay, h2, queen d5, and yeah, he just went into this and he resigned. So, very good game by Eric actually. 2 wins in a row, and I think Jonathan actually said yesterday in the board that even if he loses, he's gonna join me in the commentator studio. And now when he lost, I'm pretty sure he's not gonna join me here in this commentator studio. But I don't know. Maybe he's gonna hold his word. Milton played king g7. He's winning. He's playing the tournament of his life right now actually. It's very impressive. So we don't have too many games going. Milton is going on. We still have this rook endgame. And how do we evaluate this? It looks kind of scary for white actually. Yeah, unless we can try something. I don't think we're in time. Maybe we have some counterplay with f1 actually. Let's try rook g7. King f6, you just go back. So the king has to go to either d8 or f8.
Are you sure? I mean, king f6, king f7, just take rook c8.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna win this. Like rook d2.
King f6.
Okay, it leads to some pawn race in the end, I guess.
Maybe now you have that.
Yeah, but it leads to some pawn race. I mean, I get to pick c3 and you get this one and we go both race and you go here. And we can't calculate all of that right now, but yeah. Okay, so we actually have someone here who can join me in the studio, hopefully. Maybe. Yeah, but you keep winning, you have to suit yourself. It's not my fault. Yeah, okay, we have. I'm just gonna check how many games are still going on. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 games going on, and Milton is winning his game actually. Milton. Wait, what happened here? Rook d7? Yeah, rook f8, yeah. And we can't really see anything for white here. Okay, so I guess we have another guest here. Hopefully.
I'm here.
Alright. This is so people can hear you.
Hello.
Hello. And, well, good opening.
Yeah.
It's very...
Actually, I thought if I play c4, he probably would take it, I guess.
Yeah.
He usually plays this.
Did you look at my game against him in London?
No? What happened?
No, I played the same stuff against him with c4. I got the same structure.
Like this?
Yeah, but I offered a draw after 10 moves and he accepted, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, was he like trying to get you out of book or something here?
I think we both were.
Okay.
No, but generally I want to put the knight on c3. I never play like this, but if I do it, probably plays bishop e7, I guess, or bishop b7. And now I have the main line Queen's Gambit defined, but my bishop is passive.
Yeah, but I mean he could also take on c4 and we have the Vienna variation, I guess.
Here? Yeah, this is how I lost against Meyer in like 25 moves with white.
Yeah.
In Ariadne Master.
So you learned your lesson and put it on
Exactly.
d2 instead.
Now I want to recapture with the knight for now.
Yeah, I mean he's not gonna take her now, I suppose.
No.
He goes c5. And yeah.
Yeah, and it's always possible to take everywhere in the center, but
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it unless I saw something. Like I would happily accept the isolated pawn if he takes on d4. Also, there was a line he could win the pawn, but I think it's losing by force. If he takes on d4
here.
now, yeah.
He takes.
And then c4, and then knight takes, and then if he takes the pawn.
I mean you can just take on bishop e3 and
Yeah,
it looks...
it has to be winning.
Yeah, it looks extremely
There are
dangerous.
even no squares for the queen to avoid knight b6 and bishop f4.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to look much further.
No.
Well, bishop d6. And yeah, I mean, we got a very symmetrical position.
I wanted to recapture with the knight on c4 at first, but then he still plays b5, I guess. And I have a good square because d2 is impossible. Then e5, then he trades and plays some bishop b7.
Yeah.
And I think this is slightly awkward. I mean, queen d5 is a possible move, and then I would have to play knight f3 and then maybe queen h5.
But I mean, what you played is more natural, I guess. But
yeah.
But I mean, you get a very symmetrical position, but your knight is kind of better than his, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, it has to be very close to equal. But the knight on d2 is a bit better than the knight on c6.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of annoying. You have this idea and he doesn't, so what is he supposed to play for? Well, knight b3. Queen b6, knight c5.
Yeah.
I actually expected queen b3, but...
Why?
I just felt it was more natural not to have the queen on the same file as the rook. But...
Yeah, but I had another idea. I mean, if he plays bishop a8, which is the natural move,
here?
queen c2,
or, yeah.
to keep the bishops, then I would play knight g5 with some nasty threats.
Okay.
And if he plays g6, I mean, he never wants to play
g6,
but I think he might have to. And then I will play.
Like
I don't know
anything.
Maybe bishop f3 was my line here. But
yeah, but I mean, if you get to play g6, then you're happy, of course.
Yeah, like queen c3 and knight ge4.
Yeah, and queen h8.
Almost.
Yeah. Well, knight e5. You get the bishop pair, so always slightly better here. Queen b1, knight b6. I actually thought he would go like bishop f6 here.
Yeah, he could. I'll probably play bishop d3 anyway. I'm not sure, maybe not.
I mean, I thought this was the idea to get rid of white's bishop pair. So.
Yeah, it's very sensible.
I don't know what he was playing for with knight b6. So.
Yeah, I'll probably go to c4 in some line. Or a4, I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't do much. You just have the bishop pair, right? I thought around here he clearly just went something wrong. I mean,
but did you see what happens if he plays king f8?
Sorry, here?
Or at least I think so. I mean, now bishop e4 is very strong. because I just threatened to take and play queen h7.
Oh, okay.
It has to be very good.
So he has to go king g8.
Yeah, he played it in like 1 second.
Sorry, what?
King
Or-
h8.
Yeah, but he has to go back in this position or something.
Aha! Yeah, but then we have.
Yeah,
But
and you
now
still
it's
have
my
knight e5. Okay, so king h8, bishop e4. I'm just sorry. Yeah, Felix actually won that game. So
Nice.
so much talent. Well, knight e5, rook d1. I mean, somewhere around here we were pretty sure that you were just clearly better. Even though I mean, his position is still holding together. I mean, knight a7 and you have the bishop pair and king h8, king g8.
Yeah, and I was happy with bishop f3 because I have bishop h5 is a bit annoying actually, because neither f6 or g6 is something black want to do.
Yeah.
And there's no other, I mean, you cannot take rook d7 and rook c7 and just take.
So he actually took on c1 here and played bishop e7.
Yeah.
And
I didn't even look at this.
very nice defending maneuver, rook f8, but well, you.
I mean, I think you should play rook d8. I mean, then we have repeated the position once.
Yeah.
And I felt like a draw is always nice against such a strong player, but it's also a bit embarrassing since I felt like my position was so much better.
But would you have taken the draw after rook d8?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I hadn't decided. And in a way, I was happy that he didn't repeat it, because then I wouldn't have to decide.
Yeah. He had to decide for you. Rook c8, queen d2.
And here again, rook c8, queen d2, rook d8. I mean, it is either that.
But I mean, rook c8, can you play queen b3 here?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Well, bishop f6 and.
I lost the thread somewhere here, I felt, because soon it's almost equal. But I still have some tiny edge.
Yeah, I mean, you have this square, and I mean, he's still quite far away from this square, so.
He will get. He should have gotten the bad structure.
Yeah, I mean, all the endgames are good for you as well, because you have the good bishop, and he has the weakness here. So.
No, but I traded on d5.
Oh, that's what happened now.
I played a5 and then I took on d5.
Oh, yeah.
And then he missed my nice tactic.
Yeah. Apparently he overlooked knight takes e6, I guess.
Yeah.
And
nice.
yeah, and
queen g7.
Now it's just losing, I suppose. Yeah, bishop b3 is a good move.
Yeah, he has no way. I mean, if I played something like h3 instead,
and you lose it,
yeah, then
right?
queen e7, then he takes on
or
h3.
just check and queen d6.
Oh, right. Yeah, that as well.
Yeah, but I was looking at g3 after that, but queen d6 and queen e7 as well.
Yeah.
And then we realized
so
bishop d3 was just good.
Bishop g4, but I mean, it felt better to have the bishop protected.
Yeah, I agree. And well, somewhere around here he.
I mean, I think queen c5 is. I mean, without it, I mean, I'm still better, but I think it's got some real problems now because of.
Yeah. And now it's just losing, of course.
Yeah, I was calculating instead of taking on b5, I wanted to play bishop c2 because his king is so weak. But I couldn't find anything. I mean, he probably plays. I'm not sure actually what it was. I was calculating b4, but maybe I could just take it.
I mean, I just assumed this was winning for you because, well, 2 pawns up and his king is almost mated. So.
But now it's only 1 pawn.
Yeah, okay,
but,
yeah.
And the weak king. I mean, with only the queens on the board, his king, of course, it's weak, but there is never an attack.
But can he even defend it? And like queen b8 maybe, but then the king has to run away.
And then queen f5, but just king g8. I'm not sure. I could start giving some checks, but I don't see how I am. But the queen and 4 pawns against queen and 2 pawns is
Yeah, but I mean, like even bishop d3 here. You
But
can
it's scary with the back rank. But now if the bishop is on d3, then
yeah, he
then
just
it's fine.
win this pawn, right? I think this is winning
Yeah, it looks
immediately.
like it's-
Yeah.
it's like-
But okay, I mean, this was just easier.
Mm.
And yeah, I guess it's okay. Maybe he could have tried prolonging the game a bit.
No, but there is nothing. I mean, queen f5 was important because if I play e5, then he's got queen e6, and I might have to start running with some other pawns to make progress. And I didn't want to. But now the e pawn, I will put the e pawn on e6 and then queen f7. I mean, even if it loses a pawn, because
Yeah.
the pawn ending is also probably easily winning 3 against 2.
Well, good game. So he's not coming to the commentary studio?
No, he said he had to study this one.
Okay. Well, congratulations, and can you still take a 9-1?
No idea.
We'll have to see after 2 rounds tomorrow when you win those games. But
Yeah, but I'm back on 50% now.
yeah, and you won 2 nice games in a row. And yeah, well, thank you for joining me. And how many games are still going on here? Yeah, Milton was completely winning. He has won the game actually.
How was Felix's game, by the way? Do you want him to show it?
Comments from Anton. He wasn't that too happy with the play.
I don't wanna say how I thought Felix's game was, but I think I've been. Yeah, I'm just gonna see the final moves here. Okay, I don't have to see anymore. So, okay, we have 1 game going on. No, 2 games going on. Skog is still running away with his king. Yeah, I can, if you wanna go look for Westerberg yourself. So how are we gonna mate Skog here? I'm not sure it's winning, but it looks very dangerous at least. Maybe it's not winning actually. Dennis. I mean, we're down material, you have to find the mate here. This queen on e3 is quite annoying because it always attacks the pawn on h6. And it's always like queen f4 stuff you have to watch out for, so. Rook f6, yeah. Okay, let's just defend. Rook f8. e6. No. Yeah, he did play rook f6. And he probably will play e6 as well. Yeah, this looks losing. You wanna run? It's not brave to run. Yeah, I mean, I guess you have to. And I don't know, should we take on f7 with pawn and back? I just wanted to. I mean, you locked your queen on g7. Is d5 just winning it? You want to run even further away. I mean, there's no such thing as too risky when your king is already on d5. I mean, it's either too risky or mate, so. Yeah, at least. If we had to play king e4, then white wins. Okay, also gonna look at the other game going on. We have Bogosian Hobro. c3 was just played, and Is this a draw now? I don't know. King a3? Yeah, sure. This should be a draw, right? Okay, good. At least I evaluated that correctly, Philip. And they are correct. Okay, so let's look at this. It looks like the most interesting game.
But maybe you should play d5 instead of
Rook f8. So you don't want to allow king d5, so we go d5 ourselves. What's the threat? Okay, let's go rook a4. It doesn't threaten anything, so you can go e6 if you want to. He did play rook f8. d6, king e8. Whoa, rook e6. But then I start running away with him. Yeah, feels like there's a mate somewhere, but I'm not sure for who. Oh, he actually played e6. Oh, sorry, that's not the right position. He played e6 here. And I've already forgotten what we were supposed to do here. King d6, right?
So maybe
Rook f3. Theodore actually found king d6. He's so strong. Sorry, queen e4.
Yep.
Bishop a3. I have to just move it, I guess. If anyone figures out what's going on, please tell me. I know that the analyst is looking at d5 check now. Are there any other options? Maybe bishop a3 wasn't the best. It just looked funny. So this is what we have. How about e7 and d5? Yeah, we prevent king d5. That's the main idea. Dennis looks very happy. I've never seen him so happy. Okay, so rook e6 is apparently a threat, I think, but no, he took an f7. Wow, he's a computer. He found king d5 in like 5 seconds. I actually like black's position. Do you have to find all the annoying moves like queen e6? Why did I go queen e6? Could I go queen e4?
Yeah.
Queen e4 makes much more sense. I'm not even sure black is losing. No, I like black. I think black is winning.
Maybe you may get the queen off like queen f6, but even queen e6, right? That we just keep the queen there, like on g7.
You wanna trap the queen on g7?
Yeah, like
That's absurd. He found the move Queen G5 instead. Bishop what? I like black. I mean, this king is actually safer than one h2. This one can run in all different directions. This one can... It's just stuck on h2. It's very risky castling and stuff.
Bishop c1.
Bishop c1, why? You wanna sacrifice? Of course you do. Okay. Check. Can we take a pawn? Blomqvist would take the pawn.
King is so safe.
Yeah.
How is it even possible?
I mean, the games today are really crazy. Yeah, they're playing on the increment. Okay, I'm supposed to... Wait, what? Sorry, I have to update because they made a couple of strange moves. Queen g5, Bishop c1, they took it.
We should play Queen h4.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's see. Isn't he mated like rook f6? No! He missed queen takes d4. It was a pawn.
No, King b7.
King b7, queen b5?
King nothing.
King nothing.
No, but Queen b6 is... No? How can we get it?
So it's just winning, right?
Yeah.
Where? What are you supposed to play?
Where is the mate? I'm so tired. Is it already?
Almost. You can play 3 different moves.
I would just...
c7, queen b6. It's mate somewhere.
With the rook.
Yeah. But this... Why did I have to take the bishop? That was just some trap by Kasani. I mean, queen h4. If king g1, then queen a1. And what have you achieved? I want to take the pawn. Let's try this again.
No, but this is... okay, if I take on the h7.
Sorry? Oh, you mean in this variation?
Yeah.
Queen e5. Oh, rook h8. But then we like we take a knight or something on f8. Okay, so Theodore is getting mated. Bishop a3 here? Yeah, let's try. Okay, so let's look at the other game because black is mate. Is white winning now? I want a new queen on a8. It's probably still a draw, right? Yeah. It's quick. Can we go like h5 or something? No, we're not as quick. We're one move behind them, maybe even two. Okay, he actually found d5. a5, d4, a6, and soon I should start thinking. And apparently no, he just went rook c8. Maybe he's just repeating the position once. Or... Yeah, he did. Okay, can Skog actually... No, I'm still fighting. Sorry, I have to update, but... He's fighting here. Queen d7. Oh, that's mean. And then like, okay, maybe not g4, but something extremely... Okay, let's go here. Queen what? Okay, queen e7. Queen e7 is still like, it's not as pretty, but I want something extremely sadistic here. Okay, he played d5. Yeah, okay, this game is over. White just keeps checking on c8 here. You think you want to draw? Do you think black wants to draw? They keep checking. So what's going on? a5. It looks bad. Certainly hope white plays a5. I think if he wins this game, he's almost like secured the IM norm like 2 rounds in advance. But I mean, he's repeated a lot of times now. Like check, check, just not rooks. Yeah.
How many times was this?
Twice. What's going on? Sorry, something happened in Kaneskog's game. How did the king end up on a6?
What happened?
Is this like a draw? Okay, but let's... No, you can't even go. You can go d7, right?
No, but you play Queen E7 and D7 and then
Queen E8. Then you run with the king to D7. Then you win.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, so this is the position we want, and then we just...
Queen E8 first.
Oh, sorry, Queen e8.
But then the what? Like
Wasn't this a bit, unnecessary?
Queen D7 is massive.
Yeah, Queen d7 resigns immediately. Okay, damn it, they took a draw. So boring. Okay. Let's see, Kaneskog trying to draw this. Do you think he went for this variation just because he wanted this setup? Queen e8.
Yeah, I would have done the same. What?
I'm guessing that's not the position, sorry. I have too much freedom on this board. But I mean, if d7 can we put the rooks like all the way? And then king c7?
Yeah, now you can never win the h7 pawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can still run with the king to d7 and then king pawn.
No, we run with our king and put it here or something.
Yeah, exactly. We put them.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, but then
I bet White has a lot of fun right now. I mean, we want to put the rooks all the way over there, I guess. And okay, let's start walking, I guess. Rook, King G3, King G4. This looks like some kind of study. King D6 maybe? King G5. Yeah. No, apparently not. Why did he... Sorry, no. It's just that I'm making too much moves on the board. Queen D6. I mean, he could have played Queen E8 and he played Queen D6. Who does that? I mean, King B7, what is supposed to play here?
No.
I mean, this pawn's hanging, right?
Is it?
No, it's not. You wanna sacrifice. You can play for this.
So interesting.
No. I'm just trying to find another reason to not go home. It's the only game going on. Who's leading the tournament? It's still Bayarani.
Thanks to Philip.
How many points does Mayorov have? 5 points. Okay, so he's like in second place with Philip and... Yeah, he won.
Against
Sharma Hemant. So Philip and Blomqvist, Mayorov and Tukayev, 5 points.
No.
No?
No, not Tukayev and 4.5.
Oh, okay. Okay, so the walk begins.
Wait, we have two cameras yesterday?
Yes, we were at Krukan yesterday. Rook A8, they don't know what Krukan is. Yeah. This is a youth tournament. Not a junior tournament, it's a youth tournament. King H4. And also when the king is like here and you start to win, you have to push the pawn to G5 also. No, you have to push the pawn to G5 first. For aesthetic reasons. King H4. Why am I still watching this? Wait, what's the next move? Like King G5, we have Rook A5 checking. Like play for this.
Mate. That's a good winning idea.
Yeah. But we're like in Sugsvang right now. After King H4.
I'm black in some sort.
Yeah, I think so. We can't go King A7, we can't move the Rook.
Unfortunately. But you can check on A4.
Ah, Rook A4. Yeah, he did play Rook A4. G4, and now Rook back, right? But then we can walk in safely.
Oh,
Unfortunate.
that's not nice. But you took away the F5 square.
I would probably have blundered. I would have gone in for this King F6. He actually found Rook A8 as well. King G5. Yeah, can we play this position for...
Rook A6 is annoying.
No, it's not.
Is it still winning? It's still winning for
Yeah. Just take it on King E7, I guess. King g5. I have a feeling that they saw Queen d7, but he wanted to have some fun. Sorry, what? I didn't.
I just take the h7 pawn, e6 pawn, then I take one of the roots and I go with the two pawns.
Oh, you wanna take all these pawns and then.
Yeah,
This is the dream.
Then you will promote the 4 knights and go for a mate.
Yeah. This is what happens when I do commentary alone. No one can stop me from doing crazy stuff on the board. King g5, he can resign. It would be mean to resign here though.
Maybe.
I mean, you kind of.
What was the game of the round?
The game of the round. The best game or the craziest game or the best game for the most exciting game.
Decide. You decide.
I decided the best game of the round.
Most interesting attack.
Okay, the most interesting attack, I'm sorry, it's gonna have to be Hansen against Mihailov. It's just.
Yeah, it was over in like an hour.
Yeah. The best game? I don't know, maybe you or Stefansson actually. And you're unhappy because I didn't say only you.
No, sorry. I sat next door to these players and they resigned here, and it was only a pawn down, but probably it's completely hopeless.
Yeah, but I mean, with this structure, you should resign. You're not allowed to play chess with this structure. Theodore is down on 0 seconds. It would be mean if you lose some time in this position.
I wouldn't even play it with white. We could try to resign. It wasn't sweet.
It has ended.
The game is over?
Yeah, I played King f6.
You played King f6. Then why am I still talking? I mean, he could win an entire queen. And he resigned? Okay, well, I think I'm done for today. Tomorrow, it's the final round, round 8 and 9. Thank you for everyone's been watching, and thank you Eric for joining me, thank you Philip, thank you Ulvi for joining me in the studio, thank you Sam for joining me, thank you Dennis for sacrificing my pieces, and well, see you guys tomorrow. We have a double round, so we start earlier. I think the round starts at 9 o'clock, which is not very good news for me, and I think the commentary starts at 10 o'clock, and hopefully we will have a special guest as well. So, see you tomorrow.